Chapter 161, Invincible General. Ren Novel welcomes you. Please remember the address of this site, mobile phone reading, so that you can always read the latest chapter of the novel, Eternal Kingdom. For subscription recommendation, 2 tickets are available. After awakening the blood, the golden carp undergoes metamorphosis. From golden carp to a golden ichthyosaur. More powerful and noble ichthyosaur than golden carp. Ichthyosaurs are already dragon species, and it can be seen that the ichthyosaurs have extremely obvious dragon whiskers. Golden dragon beard. This is the biggest sign of ichthyosaur. At this moment, the spirit of luck is transformed into a dragon. The transformation of ichthyosaurs also represents that this promotion has been completed, and ichthyosaurs are the symbol of townships. Fish dragon. This is a fish dragon. It's great. It really jumped over the dragon gate and turned into a dragon species. Qiyun has undergone metamorphosis. Qishuan village's Qiyun will be transformed into Xian Zhen Qiyun. This level, in the end it's a passing time. Master Lu nodded hard, revealing a smile. The spirit of luck is the life form of a force. The previous air transport golden carp could carry air transport at the Shantyun level. It's like a container. Before, it could only carry Shantyun level airlift. The excess was difficult to use for its own use, but now, it can withstand Shenzhen level airlift. It's like a cup, it's a big bowl at once. However, I still need to face the undead army outside. Although Huang Chengyan was happy, he still wasn't completely relaxed. The undead monsters that came from outside were still continually gathering. The pressure brought by every moment are increasing. Too much optimism cannot be tolerated. At this time, the sky changed again. After the ichthyosaur's tail emerged from the dragon's gate, the entire dragon's gate was also in a golden light, disappearing in the void and disappearing completely, leaving only the ichthyosaur still hovering in midair, and the body was bursting with golden light. Into the black river below. From wherever the golden light blooms on the ichthyosaur, the dark black gas is dissipating at a speed visible to the naked eye. The ichthyosaur came back to the village along the Haihei River. Wherever he went, the Haihei River disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye. I saw only a golden streamer passing by. The vast Haihei River has disappeared without a trace. The ichthyosaur re-entered the air transport space and disappeared. Well, it's time to deal with these undead skeletons. Qian golden carp transformed into Qian Yulong, allowing Yi Tianxing to completely let go of his concerns. No worries anymore. The eyes instantly turned to the skeleton army outside. I have to say that the situation this time is absolutely unprecedented. Even if it is the strength of the Huns, it is impossible to compare them with the skeleton army. However, Xuanwang village's strength is not comparable to that before. Rumble. Just then, there was a roar on the ground. Only saw. A large number of skeleton warriors turned away from both sides. Immediately, a large number of skeleton cavalry swept through, with a large number, no less than 5,000 cavalry. In the front, it is the burly skeleton general. Behind the skeleton general, 2 flags fluttered. There are words on the flag. But as they approached, the entire wall was uproar. Looking at the skeleton general, he felt stunned. What is this general skull, so coquettish, and still hanging a banner behind it? Someone twitched. So arrogant, invincible, anything, he dare to call invincible, does he really think he has no rivals? It is simply provocative, too arrogant, too crazy. There was anger on the faces of the people. I've encountered a lot of opponents in my life, but I haven't met such a mad general. It's just too arrogant to put a flag behind me. It's like provocation. It was shaking, making a cold drink. Generals usually have a flagbearer's palm flag, and write their last name on the banner. This is a general's right. It is even more important to show your identity. This is normal behavior, but the skeleton general in front of him has 2 flags on his back. The words on the banner are even more difficult to calm. What a skeleton general, I really don't know where this strange bird came from. There was almost a black line on Yi Tianxing's face. Looking at the general, speechless. On that banner, there were 2 big characters, none. Enemy. What's this for? Strength blasts the sky, open the group mock. People who show up again will not carry these 2 flags on their backs. This is simply an infinite attraction to hatred. There was even a sense of disobedience. Seeing this scene on the battlefield, even the tension was relieved. But more people looked at the invincible general with angry eyes. Attack. With the sword in the hand of General Skeleton, he opened his lower jaw, made a rattling noise, his pupils flickered, and a cold chill from the soul sounded in the battlefield. The sound was sent by the soul. Boom boom. Upon hearing the order, a skeleton warrior immediately started running, stepping out step by step. The ground began to roar, and the sound of bone collision caused a burst of sound on the battlefield. The undead army began to siege. Each of these skeletons has powerful power comparable to monks, and the bones contain amazing power. Stepping on the ground, leaving footprints. There are too many undead troops, and this movement swept through the tide. That picture is terrifying. The resulting pressure, like the whole world, was crushed all at once. For every soldier and even the people, shock is inevitable. The first to attack were the 2 arrow towers. The 2 arrow towers became more amazing and more powerful. In the case of continuous hunting and killing of beasts, he has been directly promoted to the level of Wangji Sanpan. In the crossbow box in the arrow tower, the space is increased and transformed again, and it can hold 27 crossbow arrows at one time. You can choose to shoot out 27 crossbow arrows at the same time, or you can choose to shoot at any number. You can continuously shoot crossbow arrows, and every second a crossbow will be condensed in the crossbow box. There are 27 crossbow arrows in reserve. If one is shot out, plus the subsequent recondensation of the crossbow, it will be enough to maintain a continuous state for a long time, 1 second and several crossbow arrows, a horrible state of crazy shooting. There is almost no difference with machine guns. The arrow tower did not shoot the crossbow completely at one time, but chose to shoot the crossbow continuously. Crossbow arrows, like lightning, shot wildly at the skeletal warriors who had come over. In the first stage of Wangji, the attack range of the arrow tower was only 100 meters, but in the second stage, it reached 200 meters, and in the third stage, it reached a terrible distance covering 300 meters. Once locked, the target can hardly dodge. In addition, the attack power erupted from the arrow tower is also equivalent to the third most powerful destructive power in Shanghai. Boom! A crossbow hit a skeleton warrior. The speed of the crossbow was too fast. The skeleton warrior was too late to be hit, and he was hit on the head on the spot. Of course, the amount of violence contained in the crossbow was of course penetrated and nailed the skull. The fire of life in the skull's head went out instantly. Did not get up again, really turned into a pile of bones. Killed in one hit. Such crossbows, like raindrops, shot out continuously. Draw a bright stream of light in the air. Each arrow directly takes the life of a skeleton warrior. The frequency of crossbow arrows firing is very amazing. At least 3 crossbow arrows are fired in 1 second. However, even if 2 arrow towers burst out at the same time, one by one, the crossbow arrows cut through the sky and harvested the life of a skeleton warrior. However, compared with the huge skeleton army, this is just 9 cattle and 1 hare, which will not affect the overall attack pace at all. The skeleton army, fearlessly, launched a crazy attack on the village. The white bone birds in the sky appeared one after another and came towards the village at an even faster rate. The arrow tower blocked the sky for me. Don't let any skull bird enter the airspace of the village. After Yi Tianxing took a look, he immediately changed the attack target of the arrow tower and directly blocked the sky. Compared to the ground, the sky was immortal. Ferocious birds are the biggest threat. Only the arrow tower can suppress the airspace and ensure the safety of the village's airspace to the greatest extent. www.novelhall.com. The arrow tower immediately reverses direction, and a crossbow arrows shoot out into the sky. As bright as the same fireworks. A bony vulture appeared in the sky and was immediately penetrated by a crossbow. Falling from the sky. Get ready for the crossbow, the target is right in front, shoot me. Yang Yi categorically ordered. Brush. A cricket bed crossbow appeared on the city wall. These bed crossbow are really the battlefield killers rushed out by Lu Shi personally. A huge crossbow is placed on the bed crossbow. Crafted special runes. Just bigger. Under the power of the universal printer, the number of these crossbows also has huge reserves. Bundles of crossbows are now visiting the walls. Shoot. There are 400 such crossbows on the entire city wall, which are distributed around the village. Almost every side is equipped with 100 chapter crossbows. To open the crossbows, in ancient times, it required several people. The Hercules worked hard together to pull it apart, and a powerful destructive force broke out. But now, the strength of everyone in the village is skyrocketing, one can be compared with the original number of big men. The people who opened the crossbow were all people, and when they opened it, they did not show too much effort. With an order, immediately, 400 huge crossbows shot out like a shooting star every month. Click. The speed at which the crossbow is breaking through is amazing. The skeleton army in front does not need to aim at all. It can shoot a shot. You can see that after the crossbow arrow is shot, it appears in front of the skeleton army. Under the crossbow, the entire body burst into bursts, and bones exploded on the spot. There was no resistance, and he was smashed into pieces by the crossbow. Chapter 162, War of Monks. Ren Novel welcomes you. Please remember the address of this site, mobile phone reading, so that you can always read the latest chapter of the novel, Eternal Kingdom. The powerful penetration force of the crossbow broke out completely. After the penetration of a skeleton warrior, it did not stop at all, and continued to bombard it in a fierce posture. The density of the skeleton army was very amazing. Skeleton warriors were inserted like candied gourds, 1 and 2 and 3. 10 skeleton warriors were blasted into bone fragments under the crossbow. After the power was exhausted, a violent air machine emerged from the crossbow, which instantly turned into a red flame. At once, several skeleton warriors were covered. The raging flames ignited the skull. Burned wildly. The power of the flame was very amazing, and several skeletons were completely burned to death at once. The fire of life and soul in the skeletons went out on the spot. Turned into dead bones and scattered on the ground. Crossbow arrows are more than just flames. There are crossbow arrows that hit the skeleton warriors. When the skeletons were smashed, the bones that broke out were attacked by a powerful ice force. A layer of ice crystals formed on the bone, soul fire is frozen. At the last moment, the erupting frost made several nearby skeletons frozen on the spot and turned into ice sculptures. A golden light flashed on the crossbow, bursting out of striking edge and penetration, directly smashing a dozen or 20 skeleton warriors. It was almost a swath. Fall into pieces. The power of the bed crossbow made the skeleton army that was smashed, and even the offensive seemed to be suppressed. All of a sudden, thousands of skeletons fell under the crossbow. This amount is quite amazing. Archer, free scatter. Yang Yi ordered again. For the destructive force caused by the crossbow, there was also a great joy in my heart. This power is really powerful, especially the crossbow arrow contains the power of the falcon, so that even the skeletons of undead are bombed and killed. If it is an ordinary crossbow, it may not be possible to have such a powerful destructive force. This is the power of monks. Swipe. In the village, there were 1,500 troops in the 5,000 army bow and arrow camp. Each of them is a practice of archery. After becoming a monk, one's arm strength increased greatly, and his eyesight became more powerful. The arrows infused with energy and fired out were more powerful and more accurate. At this moment, with an order, archers of 1,500 people opened their bows and arrows at the same time. All the battle arrows used are standard runes. After the runes were infused with chi, all kinds of lights flashed instantly. A red fire flame shone on the flame arrow, and a layer of cold mist appeared on the ice arrow. There was a cyan light on the blast arrow, and a golden armor-struck arrow. Suddenly, the flashing runes burst out of the air. Although it is free scattering, for archers, facing an intensive skeleton warrior, it is not even necessary to aim, and an arrow is shot. As long as the direction is correct, it is almost impossible to shoot empty. Each arrow is extremely sharp. It fell as fast as lightning and fell on the skeleton warrior. You can see that a skeleton warrior was hit on the spot. The tremendous power caused those skeletons to fly backwards with the power contained in the battle arrows. Go out and even nail it directly to the ground. A powerful destructive power also broke out in Fujian. Either directly turn it into flames, ignite the target, or turn it into ice, and freeze everything instantly. Even the overbearing power contained in the battle arrows, the amazing speed, directly smashed the body. In an instant, more than 1,000 skeleton warriors fell on the spot. Either dead or injured. The destructive force caused by this wave is not inferior to that of the crossbow, and the attack speed of the crossbow is far inferior to the speed of the bow and arrow. After firing the first rune, almost immediately, all archers pulled the bow again at an instant and shot the second rune again. 1, 2, 3. Under the archery without breaking the bow, an extremely dazzling arrow rain began outside the whole village in an instant. It was an unimaginably terrible arrow rain. This arrow rain is a violent storm. Swept away. Wherever you go, everything can be put out instantly. The combination of runes and arrows, all archers of monks, was so amazing that the destructive power that erupted. It can be seen that the army of skulls that swept through it, like cutting rice, fell down one after another in front of the overwhelming arrow rain. That picture is an extremely shocking scene. The seemingly scary skeletons fell one after another. Without waiting for the city walls, there are already a lot of skeleton warriors. A lot of bones scattered on the ground. It was thousands of kills. Okay, the archers are mighty. A wave of arrow rain has passed, and those skeletons have fallen down in pieces. As long as they continue, these monsters can't even get close to the city walls, and they must be completely cleared by the archer of the archery camp. Quote, the sharp attack, the archer replaced the rune, the destructive power sword, the attack was definitely the most powerful of all arms, and the number of runes produced by the village chief was too much, so he was not afraid of it. Huge consumption, it is completely free to let go. This efficiency is amazing. Quote, however, I am afraid that these undead armies will not be so easily suppressed. They will definitely fight back. On the city wall, a large number of people witnessed the attack of the archers. At the same time, their hearts were shocked, and they also had strong pride. The strength of the archers also represented the powerful strength of the entire Xuanwang village. In almost every breath, thousands of skeletons died under the arrow rain. Under normal circumstances, if the original Xuanwang village had this kind of strength, even if the Zhongnu cavalry launched an attack on the village, they would all be shot and killed outside the village, not even the city walls. However, obviously, even an archer cannot completely suppress the entire skeleton army. Ding ding ding, the skull army immediately counterattacked. These skeleton warriors are also battle-hardened, facing the intense arrow rain, the pupil fire in their eyes is flashing, and the sword is waving fast in their hands, and even many skeleton warriors forcibly cut the rune in front of them, even there are flames and ice on the rune. In this case, there is still no great damage to the skeleton warrior. Even if flames and ice are contaminated on the body, they are still forced by the death gas emitted from the body. Repression wears out. No real fatal injuries occurred. The pace is still running fast. There are skull arrows bowed by the skull and arrows, and a bone arrow is drawn from the arrow pot behind. These bone war arrows are completely integrated, and they are also shining with strange lights. A skeleton arrow pulled open the bone bow, put a bone battle arrow on the bow and arrow, and shot toward the village wall without hesitation. Such a skeleton shooter is not a small number, scattered throughout the skeleton army, the number of them, I am afraid there are as many as tens of thousands. One after another launched counterattacks. The arrows of war fired on the wall were as dense as the overwhelming rain of arrows. The bones of the arrows were constantly enlarged in front of them, so that many people on the wall saw them and their eyes and pupils were zooming in sharply. Shield, swipe. Yang Yi saw that his heart was equally shocked. He did not expect that the counterattack launched by the skeleton army would be so violent and sharp. The tens of thousands of battle arrows came in a dense bombardment and the scene was shocked. Although it is not the first time that Yang Yi has experienced such an arrow rain, these bone arrows are obviously not comparable to the wars that they have experienced before. The strength contained in each one is a strange sound that tears the air when it breaks. Can give people a strong deterrent. It was as if facing an unstoppable beast. However, the village is not unprepared for possible attacks. I only saw that on the city wall, a soldier suddenly took a step forward, and a shield was straight across the front. This shield was very distinctive, and it could be seen that it was in the shape of a skin iron. There is a layer of animal skin on the outside, but an iron shield on the inside, just like a shield, wrapped in animal skin, looks strange. A shield is not counted, there is a second shield layered up immediately, and the height of the shield defense is again superimposed, www.novelhall.com, into a shield wall. Blocked directly in front of the soldiers. What? At the same time, at the moment when the arrows of the bones fell on the shield, a famous sword shield hand gave off a drink at the same time, and the true energy in the body was directly poured into the shield. Brush. Immediately I saw that on these shields, a layer of golden light bloomed at the same time, so that one side of the shield became glittering, like gold casting, rippling with golden texture. The shields and shields seemed to be connected into one, turning into a golden shield wall. Ding ding ding. The bone arrows blasted on the shield. First, they were bombarded with the golden light on the shield. The bone arrows exploded, and various forces erupted. Some of them began to burst directly. Like bombs, the power was several times and 10 times. Of overlays, there are flame arrows, ice arrows, and wind arrows. Really fierce. But these bone and arms arrows were stiffly blocked by this shield wall. The impacted shield trembled, but was not destroyed by the battle arrows. But you can still see that the golden light on the shield wall is dim at a speed that is visible to the naked eye. This shield is not an ordinary shield. It is also prepared by Lu Shi carefully. Rune arrows are one-time attack weapons. Once they are fired, they will naturally erupt. The method of incorporating runes into the attack weapons creates this one-time charm, arrow. The shield, if it is always the same method, incorporates the fuyu into it. Once excited, the shield is not broken. Naturally, the fuyu will not be destroyed in it. In principle, it can be used twice, 3 times, or even longer. But the shield is made of fine iron. It is not an indestructible material. Once the shield is damaged, the runes in the shield will become broken, so it is difficult to use it again. To be continued. Chapter 163, Drink. Renren Novel welcomes you. Please remember the address of this site, mobile phone reading, so that you can always read the latest chapter of the novel, Eternal Kingdom. Should one shield be destroyed, that shield should be completely abandoned. On the battlefield, you have no chance to change your shield. All you can do is to fight hard. Therefore, Lu Shi took another shortcut, instead of directly integrating the rune into the shield, but into the animal skin on the surface of the shield. As long as it is motivated by the spirit, the same power can erupt, but this layer of animal skin is just like a large rune. Even if the skin is damaged, there is no need to worry, just replace it with a new one. This can be said to be an alternative shield. It can even be said to have borrowed a layer of skin. But indeed, it is still no different from a shield, and it can still exert a great power. According to defense considerations, all Lu shields incorporated into the shield animal skin are golden shield symbols. Once the golden shield rune is cast, for the monk, he can protect himself with multiple layers of golden shield on his body, and his defense is very strong. It's not easy to break open. Now the shield wall formed by the shield is like an unbreakable wall of gold, blocking the dense arrow rain stiffly. Copy. However, those bone battle arrows are extremely powerful, and there are a large number of them. Under continuous bombardment, we can see that the animal skins on the shields have ruptured, and the golden light emitted from the shields has completely collapsed and disappeared. A bone-bound battle arrow broke the shield directly and shot directly into the soldier. The blood was shining, and the **** smell echoed in the air. No matter how strong a whole card is, there is no way to guarantee that it will block all attacks 100%. The offensive from the skeleton shooter was too fierce. The people on the wall had no fear at all, even if the arrow in the spot fell to the ground without making a howl. With a strong fierce light in their eyes, the towering war intention was echoing. A crossbow is the first time to fight back against the skeleton army. Huge crossbow arrows tore the void like lightning, blasted into a large number of skeleton warriors, forcibly blasted a large number of skeleton warriors into fragments, and the process and the picture were even more shocking. Full of powerful deterrence. A round of crossbow erupted, and the crossbow bombarded it. The skeleton army once again fell down like a rice cut, and fell directly to a large block. The archer then broke out again. Dense runes blasted down like raindrops. Enveloped a large number of undead skulls. Thousands of skeletons fell under the runes again. On the battlefield, there was a kill. Those skeletons did not seem to have any fear at all, but only had one goal, which was to directly kill the city wall and break through the village. After several rounds of arrow rain, a large number of skeletons still stepped on the bones and appeared directly under the city walls. Click. I only saw that when the skeleton warriors came under the city wall, they didn't need any tools. They reached into the city wall in front of them, and the fingers of the bones were turned into claws. Into the city wall, 10 fingers snapped holes in the city wall. Alternate hands, starting to climb upwards. The speed is extremely fast, making people unimaginably fast. As if the spider climbed quickly. This climbing method is not just 1 or 2, but almost all skeleton warriors make the same moves after approaching the city wall. This is climbing with hands and feet on the wall, not a ladder. Can be attacked directly. It is quite difficult to attack enemies close to the wall. In particular, there are a large number of skeleton shooters on the battlefield. They really want to probe their bodies out of the bunkers of the city walls, for fear that they will be shot and killed immediately. This is a terrible way of siege. A tough opponent. These skeletons are not easy to deal with. Yi Tianxing saw that he couldn't help revealing the solemn color on his face. This is definitely not an easy war. Can't let these skeletons climb up. Once they climb up, it will be a huge threat to the soldiers in the entire city. All defense deployments will be disrupted along with it. Yang Yi said with a deep expression on his face. This is a terrible thing. Once the soldiers are handed over, it is a real fight between flesh and blood. In the face of a skeleton monster that does not know the fear, the pressure is extremely great. If you want to attack, you must ask me if I agree. Yi Tianxing's eyes flashed cold, and he said flatly. Then take a step forward. Unconsciously, both eyes began to flash black and white. Wow! The black and white yin and yang locks appeared one after another in the void. Between the shaking, there was a clear sound, letting people hear and feel that the soul was shaking. Congenital yin-yang eyes yin-yang lock. Yin-yang ring. Almost instantly, the 9 yin and yang locks collapsed at the same time, completely dispersed, and turned into one yin and yang ring, with a total of 729. Each one is like a substance, emitting black and white divine light. Ding ding ding. Hundreds of yin and yang rings flew out at the same time and fell towards the city wall. Those yin and yang rings, as if they had eyes, were immediately set on the skeleton warriors who were rapidly climbing towards the city wall. As soon as the yin and yang rings touched their bodies, they immediately penetrated in strangely, as if those yin and yang rings were just phantom illusion same. If you look closely, you can see that, outside the fire of the soul in the skull warrior's mind, a black and white ring suddenly appeared. Immediately put the fire of the soul in it. Following this, the ring flew out, taking the soul fire directly, forcibly pulling it out of the original body. Soul fire left the body, and immediately a skeleton warrior fell to the ground. When he hit the ground, his bones fell apart. Keep flying away. Under the yin and yang rings, these bones and skeletons seem to have encountered terrible nemesis. Stood by the fire of the soul. 729 yin and yang rings converged in midair and reverted into 9 complete yin and yang locks. In the yin and yang locks, a soul fire was imprisoned, and they returned to the yin and yang space instantly. The soul fire was suppressed directly in the congenital yin-yang map and disappeared. The fire of the soul was refined in the first place. Turned into a pure black and white atmosphere, quickly integrated into the yin and yang scissors. Let the smell of yin and yang cut become even more terrible. The yin and yang lock also reappeared in an instant and turned into a large number of yin and yang rings. In a moment, it suppressed a large number of skeleton warriors. That picture is like harvesting rice. On the wall, only black and white gods flashed, and a large number of skeleton warriors died so silently. Really like a battlefield harvester. A large number of fires of the soul make the innate yin and yang eyes produce an endless joy and become extremely excited. In this scene, in the eyes of the soldiers and the people who fell on the city wall, it became instantly frenetic. Looking at Yi Tianxing's eyes, he more respected the fiery. The fear in my heart swept away, and there was a strong war in my heart. Drink. At that moment, Huang Chengyan took a step forward fiercely, and the body's righteousness kept rolling, rushing into his throat, and then exhaled. Make a stop drinking. Shouted, only to see, Huang Chengyan's mouth burst into a vast and vigorous righteousness. The ventilator that radiates to the sun instantly rang through the village quartet. Wow! With a break, the skeleton warrior on the city wall seemed to be exposed to the hot sun at once. I only saw that the fire of the soul in the skull warrior's mind seemed to be shattered by the unimaginable impact. The smoke disappeared, vanished. A large number of skulls, just like dumplings, directly fell, and there were white-boned skull birds in the sky. It seems to be raining. It's a very powerful and righteous spirit. This is the power of Confucianism and Taoism. There is a strong restraint against the evil spirits of evil spirits. With a loud drink, it can directly break the skull's soul fire. Lu Shi saw a shock in his eyes. This is where the monks of Confucianism and Taoism are powerful. With the outpouring of righteousness in their bodies, the outpouring of the uprighting righteousness that fills the heavens and the earth can boil and rag together. Instantly produces unparalleled power to break evil. Haor in righteousness is such overbearing. With a loud shout, the dead and wounded army of skeletons instantly reached tens of thousands of horrors. This loud shout also made the crisis in the entire village suddenly relieved. But after making this loud noise, www.novelhall.com, Huang Chengyan's body slightly trembled. A paleness appeared on his face. Uncle Huang, Kai Yan saw, reached forward and yelped and cried. It's nothing. It's just a release. The thirst of righteousness in my body has gone to the sky. It only takes a short rest to recover, don't worry. Huang Chengyan shook his head slightly. Zhao Ji, it's too dangerous here, you go down first. Uncle Huang, the soldiers and the people are on the city wall, how could Zhao Ji leave alone? Besides, Zhao Ji is not without self-defense. This is Zhao Ji's home, guarding the home, and I will also go out for this be yours. Quote. Kai Yan heard and refused. Look at the skeleton army that is still madly rushing out. There was a hint of firmness in his eyes. She will never flinch away. Brush. When I was in my heart, I saw only a flash of light in front of me. A sip of Baiyu Shanshan appeared in front of him. Kai Yan sat on the floor. Shanshan crossed her knees. Ding ding ding. Ding dong. Put your fingers on the strings and place them on the strings. A crisp sound of the piano sounded like a gurgling water. The sound of this piano, appearing on the battlefield, is simply rock shaking. Like a flock of birds. Countless notices instantly. What's going on? I heard the sound of the piano. At this time, who is playing the piano? Whatever the occasion, this is on the battlefield. What to play the piano? Good sound, who is playing the piano, but this is definitely a top-notch good piano. The penetration of the piano sound is really amazing, the whole village can be covered by the piano sound. It's Miss Kai, she's playing the piano. The appearance of Qinyan instantly brought countless eyes to Kai Yan. To be continued. Chapter 164, Zero Bird Contention. Ren Novel welcomes you. Please remember the address of this site, mobile phone reading, so that you can always read the latest chapter of the novel, Eternal Kingdom. For subscription recommendation, 2 tickets are available. Close black lens bracket. Xian Wangqin, Zhao Ji, she has practiced the first chapter of the 100 Bird Chao Fengchu. Yi Tianxing also heard the crisp piano sounds ringing in his ears. He looked at it for the first time. Before he saw it, he had a positive thought in his heart. There are not a few people who know the piano art in the village, but he can play with such a crisp and pleasing sound, no second person except Kai Yan. Only Xian Wangqin has such incredible penetration. Even the sound of killing on the battlefield was suppressed by Qin Yin. The tune of the 100 birds is from the magical power of Qin Dao born in Tianyan Mingqiao. The power is imaginable and absolutely incredible. However, it is not so simple to learn. Kai Yan's Qin Dao mastery is all jerky. Difficult. In addition, playing such a song has great requirements for one's own vigor. Once it is difficult to continue the anger, even if you comprehend the entire song, it is impossible to play it completely. The only thing I am worried about now is whether Kai Shu's repair can support the performance of this piece of music. Ding dong. The sound of the piano sounded like flowing water. Kai Yan's 10 fingers danced gracefully on the strings, just like a cheerful butterfly, plucking the strings, transmitting a strange sound, the feeling, as if in an instant, the earth revived and winter came to spring. There was a spring breeze. The piano sound contains a unique rhythm. With each stroke, at the fingertips, there is an installation of qi into Shanwangqin. Similarly, in Shanwangqin, there is also a peculiar power. This is a power that belongs to Tianyan Mingqiao. After awakening Mingqiao, Mingqiao is like Shanhai, and can absorb the vitality of heaven and earth by itself, and turn it into fate. Its own power. As a result, the pressure on Kai Yan was greatly reduced on the spot, and the power contained in the Shanwangqin gave the piano sound a strong penetrating power. This penetrating power covers the entire battlefield. The sounds of all the pianos changed into sound waves, which turned back around and changed. Howl. The sound of the piano changed, all of a sudden, only to see that a lifelike sparrow sprang up beside Kai Yan, and when it appeared, it immediately gave out a clear cry. This cry, gathered in the piano sound, made the whole piano sound more. It creates a mysterious mood, which makes people feel like they are in the mountain forest where all things are revived in spring. People feel a kind of vitality in the piano sound. An unstoppable vitality. The sparrow's cohesion is like a signal. As the sound of the piano changed, sparrows sprang up like bamboo shoots. Not just sparrows, but also various birds. Doves, crows, parrots, hummingbirds and more. The emergence of various birds makes the sky suddenly extremely different. That picture is also full of shock. Inconceivable, this is a phantom of the harp. It is a creature that is completely condensed by sound waves and artistic conception. After the power of the harp reaches a certain level, it can produce such incredible changes. Huang Chengyan looked at the birds in the air, with a dignified color in his eyes. Ha! A crisp bird sound kept ringing, flying happily in the sky. There are more and more birds, and it seems that you can see hundreds of birds appearing constantly. Converging in the sky, densely packed, there is a momentum to cover the sun. Ding ding ding. Just then, Qin Yin turned and became hastily. It felt like a terrible hunter suddenly appeared in the spring jungle, hunting prey, hunting birds. Suddenly, the birds hovering in the sky were furious. There was a violent breath on her body. With a sharp scream, a bird rushed towards the army of skeletons that swept out. These ordinary birds do not have a powerful fighting force. They use the most direct method, using their bodies to impinge on the skeleton warrior below. Bang bang! A sparrow slammed into a skeleton warrior with a thunderous gesture. The skeleton warrior saw the pupil flashing in his eyes and burst into a cold light, waving his sword, and chopped at the sparrow. Killed under the bone knife. But the sparrow, like a real bird, is full of spiritual wisdom. In the face of the chopped bone knife, it suddenly turned around in flight. Strangely avoided the attack of the bone knife, accelerated again, hitting the bone warrior straight. Rumble. The sparrow's body seemed to contain incredible power, hitting the skeleton warrior. Even if the skeleton of the skeleton was extremely tough, it became stronger under the perfusion of the force of death. But under the impact of a sparrow, he was directly knocked out of a huge hole in his chest. The damage caused was only a small sparrow. It even reversed again, hitting the skull's head, and immediately split the fire of the soul in his head into pieces. This is not an ordinary sparrow. It is a flying bird condensed by sound waves. The impact of the sparrow is equivalent to the direct impact of sound waves on the opponent. The sound waves are very domineering, pervasive, and vibrating, and can produce amazing destructive power. Even the most common sparrows can play a remarkable and powerful combat force. The birds condensed in the sky are not only 100 and 200, but thousands. Charged into the battlefield, horrific destructive power erupted directly. A large number of skeleton warriors died in this wave of birds, and tens of thousands of skeleton warriors died under this attack. With all the birds flying, they suddenly launched an attack, which was really unstoppable. Unstoppable. Let the situation on the battlefield change again. I only saw that the original dense army of skeletons began to become loose under successive attacks. Really counting, the number of undead troops besieging the village this time is not really endless. The specific number is in the range of more than 10 or 200,000. With the rune arrows, bed crossbow, and shield of Xuanwang village, the fighting power erupted, and the lethality of the skeleton warrior was to cut rice. The combat power of these skeleton warriors is generally at the second level of Shanghai. In the face of such attacks, the resistance that can be made is extremely weak. Even if it is a quantitative advantage, it is completely wiped out under a powerful attack. From the beginning of the war to the present, speaking of it, the time is definitely not long, and it can even be said that it is not even half an hour. The number of casualties of the skeleton army reached a horrific figure of more than 100,000. If the skeleton army could kill the wall, I was afraid that the war would be caught in the glue, but now, there is no chance for them to kill the wall. Was forcibly suppressed. On the battlefield, the remaining skeletons can hardly launch a truly threatening charge. Good job, Zhao Ji. Huang Chengyan saw, nodded, and said with approval. It's amazing the rhythm of the piano. It can gather so many birds, and it has such a powerful attack. It's amazing. Really a woman, I'm afraid that only Qingshan can qualify for a comparison. Lu Shi also began to admire. The destructive power caused by sonic supernatural power is too amazing. It directly kills a large area, and only Heor and Zhengqi can compare with it. The destructive power caused by sonic supernatural power was originally large-scale and large-scale. Lethality is known for its enormousness. Besides, it is a song of 100 birds. Even if it's just the first movement. Not even the first movement reached its limits. Kai Chin's piano skills, to achieve the piano sound mimicry, is still a bit short, can complete the mimicry, that's the contribution of Shanwangchen. Play the song of the 100 birds towards the phoenix. Kill. However, the situation on the battlefield did not make the skeleton general retreat or even fear. His eyes flashed, his body exuded a terrible coldness, and the sword in his hand pointed towards Xuanwang village, and a mouthful icy killing sound. Rumble. With the appearance of this killing sound, I immediately saw that the steed under General Skeleton rushed forward. Tall warhorse. Running up, stepping on the ground underneath passed a dull roar. The 5,000 skeleton cavalrymen who had been standing behind the General Skeleton also started the charge at the same time. www.novelhall.com. General Skeleton is a white bone armor covering his body. His body is very large, 2 or 3 meters tall, sitting on a war horse, it is even taller. It looks no different from the little giant. The sword in his hand also has it is 3 or 4 meters long, and Zhang is aggressive. Behind the invincible banner, waving in the wind. The 5,000 cavalry behind them, all wearing armor, all wearing bone armor, wearing a bone helmet, holding a sacrifice of bone warfare in their hands, flashing chills. Each cavalry is extremely strong, the fire of the soul in his body, more powerful and prosperous. Each of them has the third most important cultivation performance that is not inferior to Shanghai. If you can watch it, you will know that there are 3 auras of souls circulating around the fire of souls in their minds. This is a symbol of their own realm. 5,000 men were cavalry consisting of skeletons with triple strength in the Shanghai realm, and they were elite cavalry. That momentum is enough to make the mountains and rivers discolor. Many soldiers and even the people standing on the city wall felt the moment when the cavalry launched the charge, and a momentum like a torrent and tsunami was crushed directly. Everyone who pressed was unable to do normal breathing. I felt that there were mountains on my body that were directly pressed on my head, and my breathing had stopped. If you haven't seen it with your own eyes, you will never understand the indescribable shock. At this moment, the entire cavalry seemed to be completely turned into a whole. Yang Yi witnessed that he couldn't stop the eye pupils from contracting sharply and took a breath. The neat pace, the momentum of the entire army condensed into one, the pace of the war horses under him turned out to be the same landing point, the same voice. This is impossible for ordinary cavalry. To be continued. Chapter 165. Head-to-head. Ren Novel welcomes you. Please remember the address of this site. Mobile phone reading, so that you can always read the latest chapter of the novel, Eternal Kingdom. In the world, the original cavalry, even from the Huns, came from the most elite cavalry in the steppe Mongolia. During the charge, it is impossible to keep the war horses underneath to keep the same pace. This is almost impossible. No cavalry can do it. Because each war horse is different. Even if it is a tamed warhorse, it is impossible to completely obey any order. The ambition exists, so that even if they are arranged neatly, when they step out, they will emit raindrops. The roar is the sound of tens of thousands of horseshoes stepping on the ground, as if there are no leaves in the world. Even so, the cavalry's charge is the most terrible, with infinite deterrence on the battlefield. Yang Yi had seen the cavalry's charge, it was terrible and fierce. But in the face of the cavalry in front of him, the cavalry that he had seen before was simply a non-branded army. In terms of momentum, that neat pace, the gap could not be closed. The array of these skeleton cavalry is really neat. Neat enough to be scary. The momentum will rise to its peak in an instant. With such cavalry, the skeleton general had an invincible banner behind him, and he definitely had a strong confidence. At this moment, the entire cavalry is integrated, with the skeleton general as the blade and the spear tip. Instantly rushed towards Xuanwang village. Master, with our current city defense, we can't stop this cavalry's charge. Even if it's a city wall, it will be completely destroyed by a blow, passive defense, and absolutely unstoppable. Yang Yi also quickly said to Yi Tianxing. According to his estimation, the city wall will be broken directly like straw, and there will be no luck at all. Since it is impossible to defend, then face the enemy head-on. My Xuanwang village has never been a tortoise. The defense cannot work, and I will not be afraid of confrontation. Be mindful. You command again, we face the outside of the walls. Quote. Yi Tianxing uttered a voice without hesitation. He had never feared killing. However, in the fight, you need to choose various methods to reduce your own losses and aggravate the losses of the other party more efficiently. This is war, not controlled by personal will. So, the first step was to choose defense. Defense has a huge advantage and naturally cannot be discarded. But now, defense can't help, so fight head-on. Yi Tianxing never lacked the courage to fight. He also believed that the soldiers in the village would not be lacking. Yes, Lord. Yang Yi's eyes flashed, and he decisively ordered. The archers continue to sit on the town walls, attack freely, and suppress the skeleton cavalry as much as possible. Sword shield, pikemen, follow me. Fighting cavalry. Yes. As soon as Yang Yi's voice fell, a decisive promise came from the city wall. Under the city walls, the door opens. Boom boom. The neat queue quickly walked out of the village. All soldiers, everyone wearing armor, breathe a strong evil spirit. In front is the sword shield. Shields have been replaced with new animal skins. The number of sword shields is 1,000. Behind them are pikemen, holding iron guns in their hands, all of which are real iron guns. With their strength, they can be fully used. What's more, he can be very skilled in playing with them. But behind them, they also carry 9 short spears. The short spear is cast from tough wood and fine iron. Carry on the back, spread out like a fan, but convey a strong murderous shield. Yang Yi stood in the army and issued an order. Ding ding ding. The sword-shield soldier stepped forward, the shield in his hand stood directly on the ground, and the second shield was superimposed on the back. Just like on the city wall, the 3 shields were superimposed and turned into a shield wall several meters high. A moment on the battlefield. In the shield wall, there was an immovable momentum. This is an indestructible wall of steel shields. Spear, Yang Yanping said in a command. Boom. At the same time, the remaining spearmen pulled back a short spear from their backs. Short spears are also called flying spears on the battlefield. Thrown out, the lethality in a short distance is very amazing, and if it is powerful. Power can be a fast-moving warhorse. A spear penetrated the body and killed him directly. But the flying spear gradually disappeared on the battlefield. Why? Because flying spears need powerful arms and precise judgment. On the battlefield, the battle situation is often changing rapidly. It is difficult to give the soldiers the opportunity to use flying spears. They can perform well, less, and the power of flying spears is not as good as bows and arrows. Naturally, flying spears gradually move on the battlefield end. It even disappeared for a time. It is because of the arm's strength alone, it can explode the destructive power, there is no way to compare with bows and arrows. This is the most intuitive reason. But now, flying spears are back on the battlefield. Short spears are held in the hands of every pikeman. Directly ahead, 300 meters, throw. Yang Yanping said loudly. Withdraw your arms, infuse your body into the short spear, and then, between the arms, the short spears bombarded like a meteor. The monk's strength and infuriating infusion. At the same time, those short spears also contained the power of Fuyu, just like Fujian, only one is a war spear and one is a war arrow. The short spear, which has withdrawn from the war arena, once again burst into a dazzling glory in the hands of monks. Thousands of flying spears enveloped the skeleton cavalry like lightning. Swipe. On the walls, the archers also shot dense runes again. Swept away like raindrops. As if to drown the entire cavalry. Ding ding ding. The flying spear appeared in front of a skeleton cavalry, and, when bombarded at an inhuman speed, the cavalry was also flying at a high speed, as if 2 speeding cars directly hit each other directly. The consequences can be imagined. No. But the entire cavalry army did not evade at all, did not dodge, as if without fear, launched the charge forward without emotion. Charge, charge, endless charge. Just when the body was about to hit the rune arrows and flying spears together, suddenly, a bone shield turned outside without warning, continuously rotating around the body, directly blocking the war spear and the runes. The two collide. A fierce roar erupted. Rune arrows turned into flames and ice. The flying spear is also as fast as a meteor, containing the power of flames and ice. Filled with powerful chi. Let the destructive power of runes and flying spears soar directly to the top. However, when they were bombarded with these bone shields, they sounded as if they collided with the shield. The violent runes did not break the defense of the bone shields, but just made the bone shields tremble. The hegemonic power contained in the flying spear itself, the true energy contained in it, broke out, and all the bone shields were destroyed on the spot. Magical power bone shield. This is not a cavalry, but a magical power that all cavalry broke out in an instant. As all cavalry have a shield, they will face the attack on the spot, forcibly blocking them, without any impact. It looks terrible. The cavalry's charge speed is extremely fast, even the bone shields of all cavalry are all broken under the attack of runes and flying spears. But there was no time for a second attack. The cavalry has rushed directly to the shield wall. Drink. The sword and shield soldiers once again stopped drinking, infuriating into the shield without reservation. A layer of golden light bloomed on the shield, which became a piece and turned into an unbroken golden shield wall again. Kill. In the eyes of General Skeleton, there was a big fire in his eyes. Between his hands, the huge bone blade sword was ruthlessly chopped down against the shield wall coldly. The knife shone with an off-white cold light, and the overbearing power turned into a powerful coming under pressure. With one stroke, the strength contained in the sword, coupled with the charge of the cavalry, was enough to split the shield wall in front of it. This is a strong confidence. A small shield wall couldn't stop its blade. Your opponent is me. A war-filled choke sounded on the battlefield. www.novelhall.com. I only saw that Yi Tianxing didn't know when it had appeared in front of the shield wall and a war spear was held in his hand. Looking at the bone blade sword that was chopped down, the blood in his body was tumbling, boiling, and a battle of thoughts filled his chest. Boom. Take a step at your feet, and the ground takes root. As if the ground is too old, it seems that the entire body is connected to the earth. An indignant indulgence pours into the spear. With his arms raised, the spear stabbed at the bone blade sword like a lightning bolt. In the arms, under the skin, muscles surge like dragons. In the dark black tripod inside the body, the majestic blood poured into the arm like a tide, turned into the purest strength, and the strength of more than 30,000 pounds was poured into the war spear. When the spear came out, there was a crisp sound of torn air from the spear tip. Ding! Boom! The emergence of Yi Tianxing completely exceeded the general expectation of the general skeleton. I did not expect that someone would dare to stand in front of his sword, but the sword was still chopped out. Since it was in front of him, it would be killed directly. But the result was very unexpected. The spear tip and the blade directly collided, and when they collided, it was the most terrifying flash flood and tsunami. The spirit is fighting, but even more terrible is that the power contained in the war spear bombarded the past. Even the power contained in the bone blade sword cannot be compared with it, but it was collapsed on the spot and the skeleton general's attitude of charge, stiffly cut off. Even the bone warriors underneath fell back, while plowing down 2 deep trenches on the ground. Skeleton general, blocked, boom, but the cavalry behind them did not stop. Bombed with a golden shield like a torrent. A shank of bone warfare, under the terror of the onslaught of the mount, bombarded the golden shield wall heavily. To be continued. Chapter 166, Bloody Battle. Ren Novel welcomes you. Please remember the address of this site. Mobile phone reading, so that you can always read the latest chapter of the novel, Eternal Kingdom. Boom boom. The bone gun and the force of the cavalry's charge are poured into one shot. The destructive force and the impact generated by it are unstoppable. It can multiply the original strength by several times or dozens of times. Superimposed skyrocketing. The spear bombarded the shield wall, and the shield wall was shining with golden light, blocking it in front of the gun. Behind the shield, a famous sword shield soldier infuriated the vitality in his body into the shield in his hand. But the impact from the cavalry was really terrifying. Even if they are doing their best, one by one, they are too old, standing with red eyes, and continuously pouring the true energy of the body onto the shield. There is still no way to compete with the cavalry who is raging on the charge. An extremely scary picture appeared on the battlefield. A horrible skeleton cavalry, wielding a spear, bombarded a golden shield wall, and the golden shield wall flashed gold, as if it did not break the iron wall, but under the horrible impact of a lance with a handle, the shield wall was huge. The impact force, the bombardment backwards directly and completely backwards, the soldiers behind the shield wall, fell directly into the ground under their feet, and was pushed hard to plow a long trench on the ground. It's like a golden shield wall pushed backwards forcibly. This picture is full of shock. Moreover, the golden light on the shield wall was dim at a rate visible to the naked eye. Puff puff. The horrible impact is directly fed back into the body of the sword and shield soldiers behind the shield wall. Under that force, the shocked internal organs are tumbling, emitting severe pain, and the bones even break. A mouthful of blood spouted out of his mouth continuously. The shield in front of him turned red. But none of them flinched, one by one showing madness, red eyes, full of madness, and shouting in his heart. Withstand. Must stand up. If the shield wall collapses and the cavalry is charged, the entire battle array will fall into a passive state. They are sword and shield soldiers. The most important task is to block the charge of cavalry. Even with blood spurting from his mouth and ruptured bones, the 5 internal organs and 6 limbs were all experiencing severe pain, and still no one flinched. Fighting with fierce beasts again and again has already made every soldier understand that in this new world, you can only survive if you work hard. The golden light was dim. Until it disappeared completely, the skin of the animal was ruptured, the bone war guns bombarded the shield, and the shield pierced the shield. The remaining force still let the spear pierce the body of the sword shield soldier behind, pierce the body, and tear the flesh. Hold on. A soldier pierced his body with a spear, blood spewed from his mouth, and still roared. Hold on. The other sword shields roared. Even if the body is pierced by a shield, then using the body to turn into a flesh and blood wall to block the cavalry charge is victory. They are sword and shield soldiers. Their mission is to reduce barriers and block any attack at all costs. Before they die, they must stay at the forefront. This is their honor, their beliefs. Kill. Seeing the sword and shield soldier pierced through the body, he still did not flinch, and the picture was blocked in front of the army. A famous gunman showed a red light, and the blood in his heart rushed up his head. The short spears were pulled out again and held in their hands. Target, ahead, attack. Yang Yanding yelled. His eyes were red, and a long knife was held in his hand, with blue veins on his palms. Each flying spear burst out again, turning into streams of light, blasting into the skeleton cavalry like lightning. Puff puff. This time, the skeleton cavalry did not have a bone shield. The flying spear bombarded and hit the body directly, and was blocked by the white bone armor. However, the power erupting on the flying spear contained the powerful destructive power of Fuyu. The huge hole penetration of the flying spear still broke the armor and even caused some skeleton cavalry bodies to fall off the mount. This time the flying spear instantly caused chaos in the cavalry army. Caused great losses. Skeleton cavalry fell in pieces. This time, it caused great losses to the cavalry army. Boom. At the same time, the skeleton cavalry also blasted the shield wall violently and shattered the shield. The shield wall broke, and the cavalry began to drive straight in, but the impact of the cavalry had weakened to the limit. There was a blocking by the shield wall, which ended the cavalry's charge. There is no cavalry onslaught, but these skeleton cavalry are equally terrible. The skeleton war horses underneath do not know fatigue, do not need to warm up at all, and can launch violent shocks at any time, which is enough to run into the battlefield and cause huge damage. After breaking through the shield wall, the skeleton cavalry rushed into the battle line, wielding the bone gun in his hand, and stabbed the soldiers relentlessly. Someone caught off guard and was penetrated by a war gun and shot in blood. Slash the sword, cut the horse legs. Yang Yanding held a large knife in his hand, and with a group of sword soldiers all around. Each one is holding a long saber. Boom. Stepping forward with your feet, your body squatted down, and then the long sword slashed hard towards the skeleton horse's legs. With a stab, the front legs of the war horse were cut off on the spot under the sword filled with true energy. The skeleton cavalry sitting on the war horse almost fell unavoidably, and then was immediately cut off by the swordsman with a polite knife, and the picture was clean. Cutting horse legs is the most direct way to deal with cavalry. The pikemen gathered in groups of 3 or 5, and at the same time waved their spears and bombarded the skeleton cavalry. At the same time, under the attack, the skeleton cavalry could not completely escape, their bodies were penetrated, and they fell directly from the war horse. But some skeleton cavalry wielded their spears and pierced them into the soldiers neatly. Blood hurricane. Skeleton cavalry's charge was blocked. Even if the skeleton cavalry were powerful one by one, even if they were not charged, even the cavalry could not exert real destructive power, and they were directly bombarded by flying spears in front. Now they are fighting, and they become quite equal. But the killing was extremely tragic. Regardless of whether it is a skeleton cavalry or a soldier in Xuanwang village, the most direct killing method is used when shooting. How to kill is ******* it. All the simplest and most direct killing tricks are used, and the methods used are ****** the opponent directly in the simplest way. Killed in one hit. Everyone is dying every moment. This is the real flesh mill, the battlefield of life and death. On the city wall, a famous archer watched the battlefield coldly, and continuously shot out the battle arrows in his hand. Each arrow is precise and fast, constantly firing the skeleton cavalry. These rune arrows are directed towards the skull's head and even the vital point of the throat. Hit other parts, even broken ribs, you can easily fight. Only by hitting the vitals can we completely kill every possibility of counterattack. The archer's attack gave the cavalry a powerful suppression on the battlefield. The 2 arrow towers also began to show their might. One by one, the crossbow arrows cut through the battlefield like lightning. The threat of these crossbow arrows was greater. Once they were locked, it was difficult to escape. The situation on the battlefield is obviously a favorable state for Xuanwang village. This is long to say, but it has happened in a short period of time. The battlefield is always changing rapidly. At this moment, the skeleton general and Yi Tianqing are also fighting together. In the first collision, regardless of whether it was General Skeleton or Yi Tianqing, they exploded backward almost at the same time. General Skeleton retreated directly, and Yi Tianqing sank directly into the ground. It was as if there was a terrifying force that smashed the entire body into the ground. That picture is quite scary. Boom, but it was only part of it. The strength in both legs spit out, and the ground exploded under the feet, exposing the legs directly, shaking the arms, and the war spear in his hand again marked a streamer, bombarding the strange warhorse under the skeleton general. The target of the war spear is the head of the war horse. Kill him with a spear. That mount is definitely not an ordinary mount. On the mount, Yi Tianxing can feel that it contains a force that cannot be ignored. The combination of the two poses a great threat to itself. Not just war spears. In an instant, 9 yin and yang locks had appeared at the same time, bound directly to the mount and bound. Puff! The weird warhorse made a strange noise called www.novelhall.com. Fire flames spewed from his nose, and the dark unicorn on his head shot a dark godlike light without warning, as easy as a laser. Tianxing's chest came straight. This distance is almost within reach, and in the face of such a sudden attack, there is no room for dodging at all. In the flash of light and light, Yi Tianxing already understood his situation, but without any expression, his eyes flashed black and white, a pair of black and white scissors appeared out of thin air, and the light flashed into 2 black and white monsters. Furious, he growled and snarled towards the skeleton general and even the mount. Puff! The black light was extremely sharp, and it instantly struck the chest. A layer of treasure light naturally appeared on Yi Tianxing's body. The film conveyed strong toughness, and the majestic blood turned into a powerful physical force. But I can still feel the terrible destructive power transmitted in the black light, which is a pure power of death, cold and cold. Seems to take all life from the body. Very overbearing and terrible. Once it touches the body, it will erode the body frantically. This is pure evil power of death. However, the blood of the cultivator seems to have a strong restraint against this force of death. The light of death hits the chest, and it is forcibly blocked by the majestic blood and blood in the body. Even if it is drilled into the body, under the vigorous blood and blood, it will wear out. This is the strength of the refiner. Some evil arts have almost no effect on the cultivator. Easily cracked. Click. In front of me, I only saw that the yin and yang locks instantly tied the body of the mount, the limbs were bound, and the battle spears were slashed again by the skeleton general and cut off in midair, but the 2 yin and yang clipped the python passed by. To be continued. Chapter 167, Horn. Ren Novel welcomes you. Please remember the address of this site. Mobile phone reading, so that you can always read the latest chapter of the novel, Eternal Kingdom. Find a monthly pass. Close black lens bracket. The skeleton general's response was not unpleasant. In an instant, I saw that a layer of frost covered the body instantly, covering himself and the mount, turning into a snow-white halo, centered on the halo, a cold without any vitality. Naturally began to spread around. The cold is the cold that freezes everything without any vitality. It is the ice that deprives all life. Magical powers Death Ice Ring. This is the ice that contains the power of death. The 2 black and white giant pythons cut by yin and yang cut across and crossed with the ice ring of death on the spot. This ice ring of death is definitely a powerful defense and attack magical power. The living, condensed ice ring also contains powerful defense capabilities. This is pure ice of death, extremely tough and hard to destroy. Even if you touch it, even some magical powers will be frozen on the spot. Click. But in front of the black and white python, the breath emitted by this death ice ring seemed to have no effect at all, and even the cold air could not invade the black and white python. The 2 pythons are themselves yin to yang. There is no impact on the death ice ring. When cutting it, it still blooms with bright brilliance. Yin and yang cut off. Click. Can hear, a crisp sound sounded, the death ice ring was cut off in yin and yang, and the response was cut, but the speed of breaking was slower than before. I don't know how many times it was slower. This is quite incredible. Death ice, the toughness of the ring makes it impossible to cut even the yin and yang scissors. But even if it does, there is no way to stop it for too long. Not even a second, but even for a short time, it is enough for the strong to make the most accurate response. The general skeleton clearly felt that the death ice ring outside could not stop the sharp edge of yin and yang. And the pupils jumped in the eyes for a while. Without thinking, the sword in his hand was waving, the knife flashed, and the yin and yang locks tied to the mount. Under the sword, he split into 2 sections, letting the horse be released again from the shackles, and the horse had a dreamy black light flashing under its feet, turning its body into an illusion, with a skeleton general, strangely cut from the yin and yang, avoid to go out. The yin and yang clips are just a ghostly afterimage. Avoid it. In this scene, Yi Tianxing's eyes and pupils are condensed. The speed of yin and yang shears is absolutely terrible. In Shanghai, the number of people who can avoid yin and yang shears is absolutely few. This skeleton general has done it. Avoid it. You should know that the yin and yang scissors can directly lock the enemy's chi. As long as the air machine is still there, it is difficult to escape the sharp edge of yin and yang scissors. Obviously, when avoiding, the Lotus Chi machine disappeared strangely, so that both the yin and yang scissors returned for nothing. This speed was brought by that mount. This mount is absolutely extraordinary. Has a strong special power on him. Very powerful. If the attack is carried out at the speed of the mount, that power is definitely an extremely powerful test. Fast speed, weird magical powers. This opponent is not easy to deal with. Yi Tianxing took a deep breath, his eyes turned black and white, his eyes locked on the skeleton general, and he had completely elevated his spirit to a peak state. A powerful war will emerge in my heart. The enemy's strength did not make him lose his fighting spirit. Brush. A layer of snow-white mist spewed out from the skeleton general, and immediately followed, it can be seen that, with its center, countless white bones emerged out of thin air, turning into a circle of white bone thorns, and began to spread around them. Barb for countless bones. The bone spurs are all with their blades facing upwards and flashing cold mansions, and the death breath emanating from it is enough to make any life wither. Magical powers bone thorns. The stinging thorns of white bones were swept away quickly towards Yi Tianxing, as if in a flash, the entire world would become a world of white bones. Woo-woo. At this moment, suddenly, from afar, there was a dull horn sound, and the horn sound was broad and low, letting people hear, and a haze was born in my heart. In this trumpet, the fire in the eyes of the skeleton general's eyes beat a few times, quickly approaching Yi Tianxing's bone thorns, and stopped for it, and did not continue to move forward. Withdraw. An icy voice echoed in the air on the battlefield, as if it could penetrate directly into the soul. The voice was issued by General Skeleton. The pupils flashed with pupil fire, violently fluctuated, and took a deep look at Yi Tianxing coldly. It seemed a bit unwilling. Eventually, the sword in his hand was lowered, and the horse turned around the road begins to return. Rumble. Skeleton cavalry still alive on the battlefield began to retreat. There was no hesitation when retreating. For the command, there was a kind of obedience from the soul, without any resistance. Quickly gathered outside the skeleton general. However, only 5,000 skeleton cavalry can leave the battlefield. Not even one is completely off the battlefield. These cavalrymen followed behind the general skeleton, and slowly stepped into the road directly. There was no unnecessary movement, and it disappeared in a moment. For the departure of General Skeleton, Yi Tianxing did not stop. Watching that cavalry sink into the jungle and disappear. Humph! Yi Tianxing snorted in his nose, and lifted his foot toward the ground. A terrible force poured out. The bone thorns that were still in front of him seemed to be experiencing the shock of horror. The instantaneous shock was torn apart. There was a vibration and roar on the ground. That's the retreat horn. Something is calling the skeleton general. Yang Yi came to Yi Tianxing and said solemnly. That was clearly a signal of retreat. But the appearance of the horn brought a greater haze. This is tantamount to stating that the skeleton general is not the true master of the undead army, and there is a stronger presence behind him and a more horrible strong. Even from an unimaginable force, this is not a separate existence, it belongs to some kind of force, and the upper and lower levels are strict. When he heard the horn, even if General Skeleton did not want to leave, he still had to leave. This is not a good sign. This is tantamount to showing that there is definitely a terrorist force nearby and a terrible enemy exists. This did not happen suddenly. There must be some secret behind the undead army. However, since we have retreated, then we don't need to think about it. This test should be over. Can Yi Tianxing not know that there must be an unimaginable secret behind this undead army? But now, even if there is a secret, it is definitely not what he can spy on. There is no strength to investigate, and no strength to want to know, then it is not a good thing, and may bring disaster. The emergence of this undead army was accidental and inevitable. Moreover, the losses suffered in the village during this battle were already large enough, and there were already enough casualties. This is why Yi Tianxing didn't order to chase the General Skeleton and entangled him. It is completely lacking such strength and cannot pay an additional price. He didn't want anyone to die again. It is the most important thing to survive and build up strength and become stronger. In today's world, only the population is priceless. These are the treasures in Yi Tianxing's mind. The more I die, the more heartache. These are his people. The same is true of Yang Yi. The purpose of this battle is to protect Xuanwang village. The enemy has retreated, and it will not be possible to make up for it. It will only cause greater casualties. In his mind, every soldier is valuable. Clean the battlefield, quickly bring the wounded back to Moonwell, heal the wound with Moonwell water, and recover the wound. As for the war dead, converge the remains and leave them to me. Yi Tianxing took a deep breath and looked at the dead body lying on the ground on the battlefield. They could see that they were guarding the entire Xuanwang village with their lives on the battlefield. Guard the people behind. Facing death, they didn't flinch. Yu reading did not fear. They are all good men and good soldiers. Secretly in your heart, death is not the end. You use your life to protect the village and protect Xuanwang village from growing up. Xuanwang village, the people in the village, will definitely reward you. That day, you will return. Those cavalry retreated. We won, we won. It's great, Xuanwang village finally guarded it. Hundreds of thousands of undead armies were really blocked by us, and it was incredible to kill so many. It's like dreaming. Is this the power of monks, integration into the war? It's incredible. Look, the 2 arrow towers are getting taller again. The momentum is stronger. Is this getting stronger again? On the city walls and in the village, a large number of people cheered in joy. God knows how much the hundreds of thousands of skeletons approach the spiritual pressure on them, which is really terrifying. If it weren't for the spirit and the faith in it, I'm afraid the heart would already have collapsed. It is impossible to imagine that today it is possible to kill so many undead armies. The number of its own casualties is well within the tolerance range, which is entirely caused by the monks' strength and various powerful war tools. Runes, flying spears, shields, crossbow, which are not powerful on the battlefield, powerful lethality, strong defensive power, brought together, resulting in a large increase in the strength of the village, so strong that it did not even let those skeletons rush to the wall. This is absolutely unimaginable. I don't know how many people are excited about it. This war is epic-making. It has immeasurable significance. I don't know how many people feel endless pride and self-confidence for being a member of Xuanwang village. To be continued. Chapter 168, Xuanwangjin. Renren novel welcomes you. Please remember the address of this site, mobile phone reading, so that you can always read the latest chapter of the novel, Eternal Kingdom. The first more. Please subscribe for recommendations. With tickets up, the 4th volume opens. Close black lens bracket. They did things that they had never dared to imagine before. Faced with 1,000 or 200,000 undead army, they actually won. The Guardian village was not damaged in any way, and the entire Xuanwang village was preserved. This kind of war that participated in the guardianship of his homeland once he won was a strong pride, and a deep sense of identity and destination. Their blood veins seemed to be connected with this land and integrated. Inseparable. For countless years, Chinese people have had a strong desire and destination for the land. Life is better than the earth, and death is buried in the earth. For this land was wounded, blood shed, there was sadness, there was laughter, and there was an inseparable feeling. This feeling is so strong at this moment. The calamity is over, the luck is solid, and there is no longer any worries. The foundation is strong. Lu Shi looked up at the void, and in his eyes, he could see a stream of gas gathering in the void, with fish and dragons hovering and dancing in the void, emitting a new majestic momentum. Unstoppable. It seemed that ichthyosaurs could roar in the void. On this land, luck is naturally born. An updated weather in Vientiane. People can't help secretly rejoicing. Yes, thanks to Brother Lu's efforts. If it wasn't for Brother Lu's refining weapons, arrows, flying spears, shields, bed crossbows and other weapons, this time, if I want to keep them, I will be very difficult. Even if I keep them, I will lose a lot. The number of dead and injured is difficult to estimate. This time, Brother Lu took the lead. Quote, Huang Chunyan's pale face had recovered his blood, and he looked at Lu Shi and said with admiration. Lu Mu just did his part. He can really provide so many runes and arrows. It is the main character. If there is not a sufficient amount of such a weapon, it is impossible to make it by me alone. How much is out of it? It's just a piece of cake. It won't help. Quote. Lu Shi smiled and sighed. The continuous flow of runes, bed crossbow, and crossbow arrows, which were made at a fast speed, was simply frightening. When he first saw the continuous flow of runes and arrows, he was shocked in his heart. My heart also speculated that in the hands of Yi Tianxing, there must be any magical treasures that can quickly create massive runes and crossbows. This ability is really too powerful, especially for a power. This is the unparalleled foundation. What power compares as resources, armaments, and the inside of war? And Yi Tianxing can grow this kind of warfare instantly. Other forces need a lot of manpower and material resources to make various materials. Here, they only need to prepare the materials. In a moment, a steady stream of materials appears. You don't even see any chance of failure. What a powerful tool this is. The rate of growth is 10 times and 100 times that of others. Even thousands of times. With such a card in hand, Xuanwang Village, of the same forces, no, it should be said that Xuanwang Town's potential is at the top level. Xuanwang Village is not the first time to experience a war. Although this is the first major war, the battlefield was cleaned, the wounded were healed, quickly moved to the Moon Well, and the body of the martyrs was converged. The Arrow Tower has been promoted, the Yellow Tower and the 5th grade Arrow Tower. The power of the crossbow contained in it can already directly kill the 5th level enemy of Shanghai. The attack range directly reaches a distance of 500 meters. Yi Tianxing glanced over the 2 arrow towers, nodding secretly in his heart. Not only is the increase in distance and power, the maximum capacity in the crossbow box has also skyrocketed, and it has reached the number of 45 crossbow arrows. Once the performance bursts out, it can be shot out in sequence. This is a pretty amazing number. Can block a large void in an instant, covering all the vital points of the enemy. To a certain extent, an outbreak can produce a huge threat. Fierce. Obviously, in the recent war, both of the arrow towers have obtained huge gains. These skeleton warriors brought considerable nutrition to the arrow tower, and turned it into nourishment, so that the arrow tower directly rose from the 3rd grade of Huangti to the 5th grade of Huangti, and the power increased greatly. Yi Tianxing stepped on the city wall step by step and looked at the entire village. Looking at the white bones all around, an endless pride emerged in my heart. The soldiers and people around him looked at him after seeing Yi Tianxing return to the city wall. Generals, people, brothers and sisters. The voice slowly spit out from Yi Tianxing's mouth, but it had a strong penetrating power, covering the voice directly over the entire village, reverberating recklessly. Let all eyes gather naturally on them. Since a few months ago, we came into this new world. At that time, we had nothing, felt blank, and despaired. In the new world, our people have been directly reduced from the top of the food chain to the lowest race. Facing all kinds of beasts and monsters. Quote. But, we, without submission, without despair, without fear, use blood and life, courage and hard work to rebuild our new home, Xuanwang Village. For Xuanwang Village, everyone has paid blood and sweat, and now, everyone's contribution has established our own homeland, a sacred and inviolable territory. We stand on our own, hunt ferocious beasts, reclaim wasteland, build army, invent armament. To this day, we have changed from the possibility of being destroyed at any time in the mouth of the beast and monster to an undead army that can repel hundreds of thousands. Quote. At this moment, we can proudly say that we are already capable and qualified to stand in this new world, and no beast monster can ignore us. Treat us as blood in our eyes and easily hunt. And, today, we are no longer Xuanwang Village, from now on, some are just Xuanwang Town. One word at a time, Yi Tianxing slowly recounted the history of Xuanwang Village, remembering the efforts and sweat of a common people and soldiers. Even blood and life, everything, at the last moment, turned into a cry. Xuanwangjian, Xuanwang Town, Xuanwang Town. The generals in the village, at the same time, revealed a kind of memories and enthusiasm, a roar, and an unstoppable gush from his chest. Into a cry, the cry from the soul. They have experienced life and death and despair, and they know how to cherish everything in front of them. Today's homes are hard-won, and they are a lot of blood from the scholars. Belongs to each of them. Today, they have finally transformed from Xuanwang Village to Xuanwang Town. A huge leap from the village to the township. This leap, what brought it must be the development of Xuanwang Town, which has developed rapidly. Everyone's interests are closely related to it. This is a happy event. Xuanwang Town's leap has been unstoppable. There is endless joy in everyone's heart. It is beyond words to witness the growth of the home. All emotions, at this moment, completely converge into the 3 words of Xuanwang Town. Echoing in midair. Yi Tianxing didn't stay on the wall anymore, turned around and took Caillou's hand, stepped towards the wall step by step, and returned to the mansion. It can be seen that the mansion is shrouded in a layer of white divine light, which looks unusually divine. Entering the mansion, Yi Tianxing opened his mouth and said, Zhao Ji, go back to your room to rest first. This time you play the song of the 100 birds toward the phoenix. For you, it is still a bit reluctant. Resting more can quickly restore your vitality, and Tian Lan Dan does not need too much savings. What you need, you use it. Quote. After speaking, returned Kai Yan to the room. With a moment of thought, I went directly into the space of luck. Upon entering, it was immediately discovered that the entire air transport space had become completely different. It's bigger than it was before. The original Tiantianchi was only 3 feet in size and 9 feet deep. The whole space for air transportation probably occupies a range of 5 or 6 feet. But now it is different. Tiantianchi has expanded directly to the size of 9 feet in depth and 9 meters deep. It has more than tripled directly, and the entire space for air transport has increased to a size of 15 to 6 feet. www.novelhall.com, compared with the previous, it is like a sky difference. In Tianchi, the illusory spring eye became more real. At this moment, the gray cool water originally contained in Tianchi was flowing into the eye of Qian spring continuously, as if there was a bottomless pit in the spring eye, wantonly consuming all the water. The pool water in Tianchi disappeared at a speed visible to the naked eye and began to sink. In this regard, the spirit of luck has no sign of stopping, but it shows a look of expectation. The constant movement around Kuan Yan was full of excitement. Yi Tianxing stood beside Qian Tianchi, quietly watching the water of the pool being absorbed by the spring eyes. When the last drop of cool water was completely absorbed, the spring eye, which was rotating counterclockwise, suddenly changed, and slowly turned clockwise again. Spring water gushed from the spring's eyes. The gush was the clear, white water. Every drop is incomparably pure, converges, and grows fast. The spring water spouting from the spring, like a fountain, is flowing continuously, so that the water in the dry Tianchi begins to emerge again, and the water in the pool increase again at a rate that is visible to the naked eye. This is the transformation of air transport. In the village, the air transport is gray, and in the towns, the air transport is white. This change is a change in the level of air transport and a change in quality. Easy. Quote. Feeling the white cool water in the pool, my heart secretly gave birth to a kind of joy. The transformation of air transport is naturally impossible to be non-destructive. The water of the gray pool is transformed into white water of the pool, and the mutual conversion is in the ratio of 10 to 1. 10 drops of gray air transport can condense a drop of white air transport. The water in Tianchi is less than 1/10 of the original. Only cover a shallow layer at the bottom of the pool. To be continued. Chapter 169, 9 times. Ren Novel welcomes you. Please remember the address of this site, mobile phone reading, so that you can always read the latest chapter of the novel, Eternal Kingdom. This is the accumulation of Xuanwang village in the past. When it was transformed into Xuanwang town, this layer is the wealth accumulated in the village. This change also means that Xuanwang village has become a past, it is history, and it is now Xuanwang town. Times. Yi Tianxing had too much emotion in his heart. From scratch, nothing, until now, it finally has its own foundation. This kind of personally building a power, and still walking around step by step through many enemies, was not easy. He himself experienced it. The self-made process, the pressure brought by him, is not what ordinary people can bear. Come down. At the beginning of business, it was the most difficult. But now, from the village to the township, that is already on the right track. It is about to usher in a process of rapid development and rapid transformation. Expensive. The ichthyosaur swims freely and happily in the larger Tianchi, bathing in the white water of Qian, cozy and natural, and the star net is also in Tianchi, tightly integrated with Qian, accepting Qian's washing. At the same time, a message came directly into the mind from Qian Tianchi. After Yi Tianxing absorbed, a strange expression in his heart could not help. However, a clear voice was still spoken in his mouth, promotion. As the voice fell, I immediately saw that a layer of white light bloomed from the Qian Tianchi, disappeared directly from the Qian space, and spread quickly. Outside, the whole mansion was covered by a layer of strong white light for the first time. The light emitted was very strong. Almost immediately, it was seen by the soldiers and the people around. What's going on? Why did the mayor's mansion suddenly appear white light? It was shrouded in white light. It's a bit wrong. Look, this mansion is getting bigger and changing. It's so fast, this expansion is so amazing. Isn't this mansion a rare treasure? No, I have heard that this mansion appeared directly out of thin air when Xuanwang village was established. Is it really a strange treasure, and is this mansion going to change? We used to be Xuanwang village, but now Xuanwang town. After the promotion, have the original residences transformed? It is amazing. This is an increase in personality, and the residences will also change. A pair of eyes were fixed on the mansion. In Xuanwang Town, the mansion is perfectly natural, and it has always been the most magnificent and noble mansion in the village. Even if the craftsmen in the village are good, there is no way to build a mansion comparable to it. Now, this mansion, the speed visible to the naked eye, has begun to expand, enlarged, a large area is shrouded in it, and buildings are quickly generated. These buildings are derived from nothing. It can be seen that there is a back garden condensing out of thin air, but in the garden, there are no flowers and trees, and there is a pond that naturally emerges. The water in the pond is clear, and there is a graceful pavilion, which is natural and perfectly integrated with it. Various buildings are emerging one after another. In front of the door, 2 stone lions appeared. The meaning is more powerful. When people see it, they are secretly in their hearts. A feeling of indifference. In front of everyone, the mansion has expanded more than 3 times. That picture, for many people, is full of shock. Creating things out of nothing, natural expansion, this is simply a miracle. Every time I see it, I feel a strong shock. This mansion has existed from the beginning. Sure enough, it contains magical power in itself. It is definitely not superficial. It's so simple to see on it. Lu Shi sighed secretly when he saw it. Well, this is the mansion worthy of the current status of the protagonist. This is the magical difference of the township built by the village order. It can no longer be seen with ordinary people's eyes. This is the real fairy town. It is a different town. The vision must change. Quote. Huang Chengyan also secretly sighed. Luck's face. Yi Tianxing can clearly feel the changes in the outside world. It is a very mysterious feeling. When he decides to be promoted, it seems that the entire mansion is under his own control. At this moment, he is like the supreme master. You have complete control over everything in the mansion. Any building can be easily condensed as long as your mind is moving. Appears in the mansion. Become part of the mansion. Of course, these buildings need to be derived within the range that the mansion can accommodate, just like fantasy creations, which are extremely magical. A pond condensed on this side, and a gazebo appeared on the other side. These were all in his thoughts. However, while condensing, some magical power is also consumed. In the end, the condensed buildings are limited. A new mansion was unknowingly completed. It seems that the road in Shenzhen also needs to be taken step by step. This is a road that may not be very easy. Looking at the huge Qian Tianqi, there is only a thin layer of cool water. Qian Quan's eyes spewed a little bit of Qian water in a little bit. At this speed, it seems slow, but in fact, it is no longer slow. Because the spring eye condenses the spring water without stopping for a moment, it is going on every moment. This is a subtle process. This is in Xuanwang Town. People's hearts can gather so fast. But this is already the limit. Accumulation of luck is a trickle-down process. Unless something significant can happen, or have more people, the attachment of the people can make the concentration of air transport faster. Even more amazing. But for now, it is obviously a luxury to get the population. It is necessary to start to explore the depths of the valley. There is no population growth. It is not a good thing for Xuanwang Town, and now Xi'an Town has enough strength to bless more people. Instead of dying in the hands of the beast, it is a better choice to belong to Xuanwang Town, which is for the sake of all races. Quote. Yi Tianxing secretly had a thought in his heart. Plans have already begun, hoping to attract as many people as possible. Xuanwang Town now has such strength to make such an idea. If there are other forces in this valley, it is certainly impossible to compare with Xuanwang Town. Secretly decided that it was time to start reaching out into the valley, and even control the entire valley in his own hands if possible. Occupy this beautiful valley. Also, the place where the phoenix settles down also needs to be explored. When the phoenix settles down, there must be a treasure. It is definitely the most beautiful place in the whole valley. Yi Tianxing once again brought an idea to mind. I didn't think about it before, because I didn't have any strength and energy, so I had to choose to suppress that idea temporarily. Stop thinking more. Promoted to Shenzhen, my luck increased by 9 times. At this moment, I secretly felt the state of luck, and could not help but have a strong shock in my heart. It is really amazing. With the blessing of one's own luck, the speed of spiritual practice can soar to 9 times. This increases there all the time. As long as Xuanwang Town is not destroyed, it will be on the body 24 hours a day. This is stronger than wishing Lizu. This is the power of luck, the power of life. It used to be 3 times, but now it has soared to 9 times. This promotion can be said to be gaining unimaginable benefits. There is a 9-fold increase, and it's difficult to get up to speed quickly. With joy, stepped out of the space of fortune and appeared directly in the front yard. Master, Huang Lao and Lu Lao asked to see each other. Cao Zhengchun walked quickly and said immediately after seeing Yi Tianxing. Hurry up, Yi Tianxing replied immediately. Huang Chengyan and Lu Shi came in quickly. The front yard has not changed much, but the ground occupied has become larger. Sir, Elder was not empty-handed, holding everything in his hands. Yi Tianxing can clearly see at a glance that it is a pot of bone arrows, a bone lance, and bone swords, shields. www.novelhall.com. These are not the arrows and weapons in the undead army. How do you hold them? Come here. Yi Tianxing looked at the weapons, and he already had some guesses about their intentions, and his thoughts should be similar. The protagonist, these weapons are not simple. If the treasure in the protagonist's hands can refine these bone war arrows and war guns, then our battle power in Xuanwang town will become more powerful. Huang Chengyan said with a little expression of excitement. Yes, we just cleaned the battlefield. We collected these weapons. We thought that the arrows they fired might be some kind of talent. But now it isn't. These arrows have inherently powerful destruction force. It contains a unique Dao Yun. It is completely no different from Fujian, even more powerful. The Dao Yun runes in these battle arrows are natural and directly integrated into the battle arrows. They are perfect. Quote. Lu Shi said with excitement in his eyes. Fujian is a Fujian formed by combining the Fujian with Fuyu. It gives Fujian the destructive power, which is quite amazing. But it is undeniable that the war arrows made of fine iron and trees are lacking in power, destructive power, speed, and strength. The arrow and the body are made up of 2 parts. Easy to be cut off. The amount of true energy that can be poured into the battle arrows shot is not much. Once there are too many, the battle arrows themselves will explode. All are flawed. It can still be used now, and other materials will definitely need to be developed in the future. Otherwise, it is impossible to keep up with the demands of the village lieutenants. Runes and arrows can probably only be used at the level of Shanghai. No matter how high, I'm afraid it won't work. But this bone battle arrow is different. This is a whole, and even the runes and rhymes in them are perfectly integrated, as if they were born with the battle arrows. To be continued. Chapter 170, Booty. Burst arrow, wind arrow, flame arrow, frost arrow, armor breaker arrow, fossil arrow, corpse poison arrow. Ranwen novel. Backquote. There are 7 types of bone war arrows. All are natural battle arrows that have been bred by themselves. The power itself can even be promoted by the energetic qi, from Shanghai realm to Shanghai realm. It is very powerful and not as fragile as wood-made runes. Each kind can be equivalent to a magic weapon. Although one-off, the power is amazing. Far more than runes. If there weren't a lot of runes before, and the strength of those skeleton shooters is in the state of Shanghai, which is about 2 or 3 times, the threat of the bone arrows will definitely reach a terrible level, and the casualties caused will be amazing. Even the shield wall may not be able to block the edge of those battle arrows. Good thing, I didn't expect to get such loot on the battlefield. Yi Tianxing's eyes gave birth to joy. Bone battle arrows, this is the proper quality. Power is above the rune arrows, at least today's run arrows cannot be compared. And, for now, it has a significant effect on Xuanwang town. If the archer puts on a bone battle arrow, he can definitely shoot farther and have more destructive power. As long as it can be manufactured in batches, a unique characteristic treasure will appear throughout Xuanwang town. If we really want to get in touch with other places in the future and conduct business, this battle arrow will definitely cause a wave of pursuit. Of course, this is a bit far away, but you can imagine that this battle arrow is definitely a good thing. Give me the bone bow. Yi Tianxing said to Master Lu. Lu Shi heard and passed a bone battle bow. Hold it in your hand, and feel a cold chill in the bone battle bow, and pass it into the body along the palm of your hand, as if you were holding a block of ice in the winter. I don't know what the bowstring was made of, but it must be the essence of some unique meridian. Hold the battle bow, stretch out the bowstring, and apply a little force. A good bow can withstand thousands of pounds of strength. This bone bow contains an amazing toughness, not complete rigidity. It is more powerful than ordinary war bows and has bone patterns inside. After Yi Tianxing tried it, his eyes brightened. This bow is stronger than any war bow in Xuanwang town, and the folded compound bow in his hand is not comparable. According to his estimation, the highest bearing capacity of this bone war bow can reach about 2 kilograms. For ordinary archers, this is simply a furnishing. It cannot be pulled at all, and the natural divine power cannot be pulled a few times. But the monk can pull it apart. It takes 2 kilograms of force to pull into a full moon. It only takes half of the bow and only a few hundred or hundreds of kilograms to do it. Strong destructive power and fast attack speed. Such a bone bow, coupled with bone battle arrows, is definitely more powerful. The bone pattern inside is no different from Fuji. Let's go, Huang Lao, Lu Lao. Come here together, I'll show you something good. Yi Tianxing, holding a bow and arrow, quickly walked into a quiet room. This quiet room is not used for cultivation. Instead, several strange treasures were placed. Chengkan coin furnace, sky fire furnace, universal printer are 3 unique treasures placed here, each one emits a different ***** light. Contains its own treasure. A large amount of material was piled around. Skeleton, wood, fine iron, rune, and more. All pile up all around. Here are 3 different treasures. The Chengkan coin furnace is used to cast eternal coins, the sky fire furnace is used to smelt materials, and the universal printer can directly print various treasures. Those runes and shields are created with this universal printer of. Yi Tianxing introduced the 2 with a smile. While talking, walk quickly to the universal printer. This universal printer can create any item as long as there are samples. This is the top-notch treasure. But when printing, you need to prepare the corresponding materials, but the print is only a standard type, and it can't produce a fine product. Even if it is the best runes are printed, and they are also standard runes. However, when they are used to print these large-scale items, they can still play a huge role. The original runes were created here. Yi Tianxing walked towards the universal printer and introduced it again and again. What a magical treasure, there is a universal printer. As long as there is material, it can create a huge amount of treasures. No wonder the protagonist can come up with such a large rune and other war weapons. Huang Chengyan said with sigh. In my heart, I was secretly estimating that such a treasure was in hand, and how much help Xuanwang town would bring. It can be said politely that the entire fairy town could be changed upside down. For example, an ordinary table, a skilled carpenter, also takes more than half a day to create one, but now, only 1 table is needed as a sample, and wood can be used immediately to create a large number of tables. In this way, a lot of manpower and material resources are naturally released, and you can turn to other things, practice, and even study your own skills. It all takes time. Time is the least valuable, but time is also the most valuable. It can be imagined that with this universal printer, the entire Xuanwang town will truly have the fairy-like weather. Yi Tianxing ignored the infinite imagination of Huang Chengyan and Master Lu, walked to the universal printer skillfully, opened it, and put a bone battle arrow into it. Brush. Immediately, a picture emerged clearly on the universal printer. The pattern of bone war arrows is presented above, and the corresponding data and materials required are marked. But the name is blank. Bone arrow burst arrow. Yi Tianxing named this sample with ease. Once the sample is put in, it is tantamount to a perfect fusion with the universal printer. There is no way to take it out, but it can be turned into a sample and you can choose with confidence on the universal printer. Permanent. For now, Yi Tianxing waved on the universal printer, just like a tablet computer, and the pictures quickly emerged. These are the samples that were originally integrated into the universal printer. It is a sci-fi means to choose what you want to print out. At least in the eyes of Huang Chengyan and Lu Shi, this kind of picture is very amazing. Like dream. Bone battle arrow burst arrow. Materials required. Bones, spar. On the above, it is surprisingly realistic to print the materials needed for this bursting arrow, which is surprisingly simple, and only requires a lot of bones and spar. Obviously, the convenience of this material makes the value of bone war arrows even higher. Without him, the material is simple, but it can print powerful bone war arrows. It's pretty scary. Easy manufacturing means that it can be manufactured on a large scale, and even the entire military barracks can be replaced. Bone skull bow. Materials required. Bones, animal tendons, spar. After putting the bone war bow into it again, I also got the materials needed for production, which is not too rare. Can be manufactured in large quantities. There are swords and swords. Bone spears and more. Both can be made directly from bones. Moreover, although these weapons are made of bones, they contain unique bone patterns, which makes these weapons not light in weight and harder than swords made of fine iron. With a bone blade sword and a fine iron sword, a sharp iron sword appeared. Even if the collision is too violent, it may be cut off directly. Can be described as a very elite weapon. In this regard, Yi Tianxing naturally made the decision without hesitation. And the materials made are even simpler. When the skeleton army fell outside, a large number of bones scattered had already paved the ground into a world of white bones, which made people feel chilling. The number of bones is unimaginable. Now it can be used again. Forge bone arrows, swords, and smelt into bone crystals in the skyfire furnace. Once you turn your hands, you can turn into all kinds of precious items. Not to mention that Yi Tianxing has obtained huge gains in the spoils. However, it says that today, www.novelhall.com, is in Lucian City, not far from the valley. I only saw that in Lucian City, the vile atmosphere became more and more intense. Although there are many people in the city, the fear on their faces and the despair in their hearts make everyone feel angry. Every day in the city, the cave appears silently, forcibly pulling the people in the city into the ground. In the scream, the cave disappeared directly. It is impossible to find the hidden beast. Can only die in the city, waiting for that fate of death to fall upon himself. Many people want to commit suicide, but find that, day after day, even the courage to kill themselves is consumed. At this moment, in a large mansion, a large number of people gathered inside, some directly floored in the yard, some lived nearby, and looked closely. Their faces also had despair and unwillingness, but they were bigger than the city. For some people, it's pretty good. A group of people who were not completely overwhelmed by the atmosphere. In a room in the house, it can be seen that Chen Sheng is practicing, a stream of heaven and earth vitality is constantly pouring into the body, and after refining, a strange black gas is emitted from the body, which is incorporated into the body. Call. I don't know how long in the past, a mouthful of spit air slowly came out of my mouth. There was a flash of fine light in his eyes. The Undead Sutras of the 100 Calamities is really powerful. The cult of the Undead Sutras is really weird. It actually made me break through the Shanghai realm so quickly and be promoted to the second realm of the Shanghai realm. FA really suits me perfectly. Quote. Chen Sheng murmured to himself. These days, after getting the exercises and having no way to leave Lucian City, he began to practice with peace of mind, but he did not seem to really agree with this practice. It was quite easy to complete the imagination and open up the Sea of God. To be continued. Chapter 171, Hob Meat. The imagination picture was also very strange. When he saw it, he was shocked. Anwen, backquote. What kind of imagination is that? It's just a grass, or a dog's tail grass that looks everywhere. But it has a name called undead grass. The whole set of imaginary pictures is called a map of immortality. A dog's tail grass is also called immortal grass. But I don't know why, after Chen Sheng saw it, he really saw the immortality. It really feels very breathable. When you think about it, it is very easy. It is like completing an imagination like a bamboo, opening up the Sea of God, and, thousands of miles a day, I don't know why, the speed of cultivation is amazing. Moreover, it seemed that there was some magical power in itself. It was all integrated into the body, allowing the repair to make rapid progress. The concentration of the vitality in the body was as rapid as a fountain, but there was no limit to the instability of the foundation. However, after the exhaustion of the mysterious power condensed on the body, this rapid progress disappeared. Now, the speed of cultivation seems to be normal. But even so, it also allowed Chen Sheng to break through to the second place of Shanghai in a short period of time. The 12 cannons were all open. This process is a complete process. Even Chen Sheng has a dream-like feeling. Feeling the powerful power emerging from his body, Chen Sheng's heart gave birth to a strong confidence and ambition. With this magical method in hand, he is absolutely sure that he can make a great undertaking. It's never like that, not to be trapped inside a city in this district. Shu Wei has no way to break through any more quickly. It seems that we must find a way to escape from this Lucian city, otherwise, sooner or later, it will be reduced to the monster's mouth food. Chen Sheng made a secret decision in his heart. He definitely didn't want to sit still, it wasn't his character. Even if it is dead, he also has to fight. Moreover, you may not lose a fight. Perhaps the secret monster is not so strong, otherwise, why do you always shoot in secret and dare not even show your face? As long as you are prepared, you may not escape. Anyway, he will never stay here anyway. Just then, there was an uproar outside. It seems to be coming from the gate of the city. Boss, Something major has happened. Outside, someone shouted quickly. Chen Sheng opened the door of the room, looked at the person who was coming forward and asked aloud, "What's going on? Did the monster start eating people again?" "No, someone came into the city from the outside. It's a newcomer." The news came from people at the gate of the city. But how many people came in and who they are, it's unclear. A man answered quickly. "It's really strange that someone comes in again. How can people in Lucian City keep coming in? These days, people come in every so often. It seems that there are not many people in the vicinity of Lucian City." Chen Sheng frowned slightly, groaning secretly. Then he waved his hand and said aloud, "Let's go and see at the gate of the city. There should be a lot of people coming in. Not one or two. Go and see who is coming." For the newcomer, he attached great importance to his mind. The people in this city have become lifeless and their wills have been defeated. Such people, if they want to live, is really an extravagant hope. If they want to rush out, they also need a large number of people who have a heart for survival. Outsiders who are not affected by the atmosphere in the city are the best targets to win. No matter what, kill it out. Chen Sheng waved his hand and hurried hundreds of people to the gate of the city. On this way, you are familiar with driving. Easily reach the front of the gate. At this glance, Chen Sheng's face couldn't help showing great joy, and he shouted, "Guang, I'm Chen Sheng. You're still alive. It's great." Near the city gate, I saw only a burly man with a sullen body standing with a large number of people standing in the gate area, looking at the scene in the city, somewhat surprised and a little dazed. "That person is not Wu Guang or who?" Suddenly heard a shout. Wu Guang immediately looked up, and saw Chen Sheng at one glance, and his face suddenly showed great joy, shouting, "Victory, you are alive, it's great. Why are you here?" Quote. The two ran wild for a while, stood together, hugged them together, and made ecstatic laughter in their mouths. The voice was full of unexpected surprises. This surprise was really unexpected. When the two of them decided to flee with a handful of people, they knew in their hearts that the chance of meeting them again must be quite slim. It may even die on an unknown road ahead. That separation may be a farewell. I never thought that there would be a chance to meet again. Still here, in this case. This is simply the beauty of heaven and the arrangement of fate. When he needed the most help, he sent Wu Guang to the front. The joy in his heart made Chen Sheng's face burst into a strong smile. After a strong hug, the two separated, and there was another cheerful laugh. "Guang, let's go back first." Chen Sheng looked around and said. "It is good." Wu Guang did not refuse, and agreed decisively. Back to the mansion, Chen Sheng Wu Guang sat together. "Don't we run separately at first? How did you show up here?" "I clearly saw that we were going in opposite directions, and they were still meeting in Lucian City. It seems that heaven is destined to join us together, make a big cause." Quote. Chen Sheng said with a smile. "Yes, this is God's providence. In that case, it is too easy to meet again. There is no other possibility than God's providence. However, Sheng, this Lucian City looks very wrong. How so deadly? No one can see anger on their faces. This is weird. You are in Advanced City, what is going on here now?" Quote. There was a flash of light in Wu Guang's eyes. Shen said. "I'm going to tell you that this Lucian City has already become a hunting ground for fierce beasts and monsters. All people in this city are blood prey trapped by that monster. After entering, no one can escape from the city." Quote. Chen Sheng's solemn expression quickly said his understanding of Lu Shancheng. The tone was also heavy. When you step into the city, you are walking into the edge of death. No one knows when they will die suddenly. The monster hidden in the dark is too scary. People can't think of any way to deal with it. The more mysterious the enemy, the more frightening it becomes. It is really too strong for the will to pass. No, we can't stay here, stay here, just wait for death. No one knows what the monster is, but if it can eat people, it must not be a good thing. We must leave as soon as possible." Wu Guang was listening immediately afterwards. He said. "This is a dangerous place and you must not stay long." "Well, I wanted to leave for a long time, but the monster was too far away and killed invisible. Before I had less than 1,000 people, even if I rushed out, I am afraid that the danger will still be great, and the escape may be too small. When you come here, we will have a chance to escape together." Chen Sheng nodded and said, "Moreover, not only will we have to escape, but we will also awaken the will of all people in the city to survive. To become lifeless is simply a lack of leadership." Quote. Yes, it's as if we were oppressed in the Hun's barracks before. We definitely want to resist. No one wants to die. However, these people's will has been so depressed that it is difficult to wake them up. Wu Guang frowned slightly. Even if you just came in, you can see that many people are already in a state of near numbness, only a feeling of walking dead and living a day counts. This obviously does not work. I have already thought about this, and we will do so by then. Chen Sheng flashed a shrewd light in his eyes, and immediately opened his mouth to express his ideas. When Wu Guang heard it, the light in his eyes gradually became richer. He nodded and kept saying a few words as a supplement. In a few moments, this big plan has been formulated, www.novelhall.com, in the city. In an alley, an old beggar opened his eyes and grinned with a smile, grotesquely whispering, "This churning stick in the hob meat, this must not be turned upside down. This Lucian city, to be out the big thing is going to be interesting." Quote. He murmured and fell asleep immediately. I don't seem to care at all about things outside. When he was going to sleep, he would sleep in the old age. At night, a common man kept leaving in the mansion. Dispersed to various areas of Lucian City, quietly integrated into those dead people, it seems no different from other people, scattered thousands of people in a row. This person is nothing to Lucian City as a whole. Just as water dripped into the river, it didn't cause much reaction. Many people even lack the response. Unconsciously. One night has passed quietly. The sun on the horizon has begun to rise. In the morning, several screams came out of the city, and then disappeared. What can be seen as the sudden emergence of burrows, followed by some unlucky ghosts. Obviously, it is impossible to live. In this regard, the fear in many people's eyes has become more intense. Even in fear, with despair, in despair, there was some madness, but the madness was not dared to show up at all, and was drowned by the fear in my heart. It's gone. This is a tragic picture that is seen every day. Perhaps, it will be their turn tomorrow. Someone started to ignite porridge. Many people started picking up tableware and preparing to pick up food. In the mansion, Chen Sheng and Wu Guang looked at each other, nodded, and opened the door together. Quickly went out. To be continued. Chapter 172, How to be Bloody. According to the previous situation, the hidden monster will be silent after eating people, at least until it is hungry. There will be no danger, provided that it does not trigger its taboo, that is, cannot leave this Lucian city. Otherwise, it will be detected by the monster, kill it directly, take it away, and eat it. Chen Sheng and Wu Guang left the house together and boarded the city wall. Dang dang. After reaching the city wall, someone directly rang the alarm bell with a hammer, and the alarm bell passed directly to the entire Lucian city. Even if many people have been shrouded in despair fear, in this bell, they can't help but be awakened, and even their will seems to be restored. There is a trace of clarity in their eyes, and they look up at the location of the alarm bell, and look at the wall. Look up, seeing Chen Sheng, Wu Guang and others standing under the alarm. A look of doubt appeared in his eyes. You folks, brothers and sisters. Chen Sheng said loudly. Everyone is from the north and the south, even the age is different, but we can't change it. They are all human identities. Everyone is human. We are wise, not pigs and sheep raised in pig pens. Ferocious monsters slaughter at will. Quote. The voice was sent out with infuriating chi, directly covering most of Lucian City, one word at a time, and passed directly to everyone's ear. We have more than a dozen or 200,000 people. Even if the beast is more powerful and the monster is stronger, it will not be possible to eat us all. As long as we rush out of Lucian City, everyone has hope for survival, and we have our own future. Chen Sheng shouted again. With a moving deceptive power in the voice, people unconsciously made waves in their hearts. The people who had become numb could not help but give birth to a stir, and an unwillingness appeared in their eyes. Yes, everyone is a human. Instead of sitting here and waiting for death, it is better to fight for it. Staying here is death. Everyone fights for it. It may die, but it may also survive. Left and right are dead. Why not fight for ourselves? We are human beings, not pigs and sheep. Quote. Wu Guang also waved his fist and yelled. My people have dug big holes from the city walls. If you want, you can immediately open a hole. Everyone can not only get out of the city gate, but you can also rush out of these holes. I don't believe that the monster has a clear sky. Skills can block all gaps. Everyone is not afraid of death, there is always a chance of survival. But if you stay, it will be a dead end. People in the city will be eaten by the monster sooner or later. Quote. Chen Sheng yelled with a look of excitement, I am a human race, how can I be bloody? And the courageous brother, rush out with me, only by rushing out can we live. Bang bang. At this time, the walls around Lucian City suddenly opened a large hole, which could accommodate more than a dozen people to pass together. There are dozens of such openings on the city walls. All around the city walls. Let the city wall suddenly become like a sieve leaking everywhere. It looks amazing. This series of movements made the ordinary people in the cities lifeless, one by one. Different eyes seems to be touched by what he is doing. That's right, instead of dying in the middle of the city like this, we might as well fight it. Even if it is dead, it is going to die vigorously, so sitting and eating wait for death to count. We fight. There was a sudden roar in the crowd. Yeah, we fight. We are human beings. We must not sit here waiting to be eaten by a monster. Even if we are dead, we must fight for ourselves and work hard once. In that way, we will not regret our death. Another shouted, yes, instead of turning into a waste like this, you might as well fight it once, and you don't believe that the monster is really so powerful. You can kill many of us. Even if you want to kill, no one can escape. Chong, whether you can survive or not depends on today. Everyone rush. At this moment, the people who had already begun to be tempted, heard a cry, and suddenly the nature in the body had been consumed, and even the desire to live was completely ignited. There was a look of madness on his face. Without any hesitation, I saw someone starting to rush towards the openings. Immediately followed the impact involuntarily. Chong, rush out and we win. As long as we leave Lucian City, we are safe. Everyone hurry up, hurry up. As long as there is a chance, life is possible. Staying here is waiting for death, and rushing out may be alive. In order to survive, it is not necessary to fight with your life once. A common people roared quickly. Grasp the sticks one by one, lift the long knife, grab the shovel, carry its hoe, and pick up the flat load. Hold the dog stick. Towards the entrance of the cave, launched a crazy shock. Suddenly, the whole city evolved into a torrent of people, rushing towards the entrance of the cave. After Chen Sheng and Wu Guang looked at each other, they did not immediately go down the city wall. It was not difficult for them to leave. With the monk's ability, they could jump out of the city wall directly and outside Lucian City. They are observing how the monster in the dark will react. Such a move, it is absolutely impossible to conceal the monster in the dark. Now, see if that monster will reveal its true body. Once revealed, it is no longer mysterious, and sooner or later you can think of a solution. Rumble. Thousands of people rushed down, and the ground roared. A large number of people rushed out of the hole. They rushed out from the gate. In an instant, thousands of people rushed out of Lucian City. Their power is unstoppable. What they lack is just an opportunity, a leader who leads them in action. Chen Sheng Wu Guang is such a role. They ignite the repressed fear in everyone's hearts and erupt completely. Without dying in silence, erupt in silence. All they need is an introduction. A large number of people were pouring out of dozens of large holes at the same time. Roar. Sudden changes in Lucian City, a large number of people directly rushed to Lucian City and ran away. The monsters hidden in the dark suddenly became a little faint, but immediately, after the reaction, a terrible hissing sound directly across Lucian City the sky echoed. Click. On the ground outside the city, cracks suddenly opened. Hole. Many people were too late to react and were swallowed by these holes. In a scream, it disappeared. However, compared with the humans who rushed out, the number of these holes that appeared from the ground was not enough to block all the exits and all the escape routes of the people. Although some people were swallowed by the underground hole, more people fled from the city. And the speed is amazing. A large number of people escaped every moment. Success, we really escaped. Great, that monster couldn't stop us, we really survived. Run, you have already escaped from Lucian City. I definitely don't want to die in the hands of that monster again. I was eaten alive. When escaping, many people still couldn't believe it was true. How could I never have thought of it before? For a moment, the fear and despair in my heart all turned into the strongest hope. There seemed to be a blazing flame in his eyes. Okay, we succeeded. The monster really couldn't block all exits. Its ability is definitely not as scary as we thought. We still have a chance. Chen Sheng said with a smile of joy on his face. Victory, you can't stay here, you must leave as soon as possible, I'm afraid the monster is going crazy. Wu Guang said with a dignified look, quickly. Jump off the wall. Chen Sheng made a decisive decision. Without hesitation, after looking at each other, they jumped directly from the wall without hesitation. This jump fell from the walls of several meters. As far as monks are concerned, this height is naturally nothing. Jump down, there is nothing at all, and they get into the crowd in an instant. Roar. An angry roar sounded again over the city, and immediately followed, I saw that the middle of Lucian City began to collapse, and a huge python got out of the ground. The whole body of the python was yellow scales, www.novelhall.com, glittering with cold light, huge eyes, like lanterns, conveyed extremely angry eyes. From the eyes, it can be seen that this python is no longer a simple beast, and it already has good wisdom. It was because of wisdom that the people in the city suddenly rebelled. When he started to escape, the anger in his heart suddenly filled his mind and became stronger. The whole mind was replaced by anger and fierceness. Become wicked. This python is tens of meters long, has a larger body than an adult strong man, and is no less than 2 meters thick. It looks like the same terrible monster. Fierce beast. There was a terrifying breath on her body. Roaring without any hesitation, he killed the people directly in front of him. Opening a mouthful of suction, the sand and stones fell on the ground. Someone was flying on the spot, sucked up by this power and flew out on the spot, was directly drawn into the mouth of the python, swallowed it, fell into the mouth of the blood basin, and followed the bottomless hole. With just one scream, it disappeared. Boom. As soon as the python's tail was swinging, nearby humans were hit on the spot, and their bodies exploded directly under huge force. They were torn apart, and the buildings were collapsed. The breath was lost in the city. As soon as the body moved, the huge body quickly called out like a fierce flood, and the fierceness looked like a gust of wind. What? All the people who stood in front of it were attacked one after another, without even a trace of resistance, and were culled on the spot. Swallowed by the python. Boom. The python snake whipped the ground. There was a vibration on the ground, and a stab of ground stabbed out of the ground. A large number of people were punctured by the ground on the spot, and blood flowed into the river, making various screams. His eyes were full of fear and despair. Visit the latest chapter of the Eternal Kingdom on your computer. Visit the latest chapter of the Eternal Kingdom on your phone. -168,510. Chapter 173, 4 fled. That picture is almost like on Earth. It is a belly broken, blood is like a fountain. Even some people did not die immediately after being punctured by the ground. The huge pain caused them to scream continuously, and the sound was very desperate. Looking at that python's eyes, full of fear, I could never think of it. What was hidden in the dark would be such a terrible worm. I was so huge, so fierce. As soon as he appeared, he created an amazing killing. This python is too terrible, and the breath it emits makes it difficult for even a trace of resistance to be born. It is like a mountain peak resting on the top of the head. The shock brought by this python is too strong, and human beings are just too small in front of it. It's just like ants. Not to mention confrontation, just the momentum, the people who are overwhelmed completely collapse. Python, so big, run. It turns out that the mysterious beast turned out to be such a huge python, so horrible, so big, it is no wonder that it will eat several people in one meal. If you don't run away, you will be eaten by this python sooner or later. Light, eat everything. Quote. Hurry up, run quickly, run desperately, and run away. This way, the python has no way to resist. This python will hex, and if you twitch your tail, you will have so many spikes on the ground. This is too terrible. Quote. The people who have fled to witness the emergence of the python are completely covered with fear in their eyes. He screamed in horror, never thinking about it, running madly towards the outside. Such a python has challenged everyone's psychological limit. This is a monster, especially now that the monster is completely crazy. Victory, we can't kill such a python at all, we can't stop it, we still have to find a way to escape. Wu Guang's face was all black, how could he never imagine such a terrible python? Can't go together, it seems we have to be separated again. Only if we flee separately can we have a chance to save our lives from the pursuit of the python. Chen Sheng also nodded, and the idea of invincible emerged in the first time, looking at Wu Guang, said, Guang, we must have the opportunity to meet again. The last time we were separated, we each got a practice exercise. This time, we will be strong when we are separated in the future. Okay, Win, you have to take care. I believe we will not die, we will be able to live. Wu Guang also nodded heavily. The current situation, walk separately to have a chance to survive. Otherwise, if you really want to be overtaken, then you really have to wipe out the entire army. The two did not hesitate to take a group of hands, shouted and fled in different directions quickly. Not only them, but other people who rushed out of Lucian City, in ecstasy. They only hated that their parents gave birth to two fewer legs, and wished they could run faster. Escape desperately. Hundreds of thousands of people, once running, the picture is full of shock. Also, the direction of escape is in all directions, subconsciously. Many people ran away, even in different directions, but there were a large number of people in each direction. Sheng Chensheng and Wu Guang took away the two largest teams. The people who originally followed them gathered together and had a strong appeal. The number of people naturally grew as big as a snowball. Roar! The python rushed out of Lucian City, his eyes quickly glanced around, and he growled and chose a direction to quickly catch up. The anger on the body almost ignites the body. I don't talk about the changes in Lucian City. Great changes have taken place again in Wangshuanwang town. First, the occupied area has expanded again. Centered on the mansion where Yi Tianxing lives, it continues to expand outwards, expanding the area no less than 3 or 4 times. Circle in a large area. When built, the scale will definitely not be inferior to an ancient city. Is basically built according to the specifications of the city, whereas Wet Town. When it was built, it could definitely accommodate more than 100,000 people. This is because of several successive expansions. After consulting with Lu Shi and others, Huang Chengyan decided to build it, then it was in place at one time and built as large as possible. Although it becomes more difficult to defend. However, Xuanwang town practiced by the whole people, in case of danger, can be a soldier for the whole people. It should be possible to do it just for defense. In many places, they are directly overthrown and rebuilt. They are very optimistic about the future development of Xuanwang town. Therefore, under this redesign, the locations that may be expanded in the future will be circled in one time. Once in place, at least at the township level, there is no need to continue expanding. I began to rebuild Xi'an town, and the people in the town were completely busy. Some people open up wasteland, others are logging. Cut the dense jungle directly. Clear up more space. At present, if the jungle is too dense and too close, it is not safe for Shenzhen, and the beast monsters may rush out of it at any time. Cutting down a part can reserve space for early warning. Nowadays, Xuanwang town keeps talking about it. I heard that the mayor this time promoted Xuanwang village to Xuanwang town, and rewarded the heroic soldiers for this heroic battle. Moreover, the reward is eternal currency. In the future, the currency in our Xuanwang town is eternal currency. Quote, I have also heard that it is said that all the soldiers participating in the battle were rewarded with eternal coins and merit points. This merit point can be used to upgrade the ranks in the army. It seems that the military aircraft cabinet began to discuss the launch. New military system. Quote, yeah, it seems that every soldier who participated in the war received 5 eternal coins as a reward, and there were as many as 10 killing enemies. That eternal coin is incredible. It is said that it was minted from a different treasure, itself contains a huge amount of pure vitality, as well as a 3-fold increase in the speed of cultivation. Very powerful, very magical. It seems to say that when our Xuanwang town is completely stabilized, the mayor will really promote the eternal coin. Quote, I care about the military system. I heard that the military cabinet is to formulate a new military system, and the mayor is also suggesting it. It seems that what grade of the 9 soldiers will be implemented. No one knows what it is. In town, many people like to chat when they do things. There are endless topics to talk about every day. While talking and working, time can pass quickly. This time Yi Tianxing made a big reward by rewarding the army for toiling him. It's not just about rewards. It is also the first time eternal coin has actually appeared in front of every citizen. Formally as a currency, how can this not cause a shock in the town? The emphasis on currency is absolutely of great concern to everyone. After all, no one has come from the primitive era, they all came from the civilized dynasty. They all understand the importance of currency and the importance of money. A penny can stump a hero, which is not just talking. There are also things about the military system, which are also things that many people care about. The army is a guarantee for the security of Xuanwang town. It was reported long ago that Xuanwang town will implement a new military system, which will be very different from the previous military system. Well, isn't that the big boy who joined the army before? Why didn't he train in the barracks? This is still wearing new clothes. Oh, he seems to be walking towards Kwewa, what is he going to do? A burly young man with a burly face showed a tinge of embarrassment on his face. There was a little hesitation, and there was also expectation, step by step towards a girl in a flower shirt. The girl is not very beautiful, it can only be said to be ordinary and not ugly. At this moment, he was squatting by the river, washing clothes. The sound of conversation around her made her look up, and when she saw the man approaching her, a look of surprise appeared in her eyes, as if wondering why he came over at this time. Still wearing so formal. Dachang, aren't you training in the barracks? Why did you come here? The young girl got up and shook the hair of her forehead aside, and asked. Kwewa. Dachangji came to the girl with some cramps, but still said firmly, today, my lord has given you rewards. All the money is here. There are a total of 15 eternal coins. These money will be entrusted to you for safekeeping. Quote. My mother said, I will make money in the future, I must give the money to my wife, I like you, Kwewa, I want to marry you as my wife. He bumped, but still said what he wanted to say. His eyes were very hot. I heard that Kwewa's face was already ashamed. Looking at the man's expression of firmness and sorrow in front of him, he grabbed the handed money bag, covered his face with one hand, and turned to run away. Leave the man dumbfounded. www.novelhall.com. Dachangji, what are you still stupidly doing? Kwewa took your money, which means that he is willing to marry you, and you are not ready to catch up. You are stupid. Quote. Yeah, catch up with your punches, Kwewa will be in love with you for a long time. You will not chase now, but when will you wait? Convenient to watch people can't help but smile. The big man heard, woke up, scratched his head with a smirk, and promised to catch up. This situation of showing love is not small in Xuanwang town today. Almost all single men and women love each other and pursue each other, that is a natural thing. This is also the instinct of human reproduction. The opposite attracts, this is the truth that the world is unchanged. Soon, some eternal coins were circulating from the barracks. A beautiful eternal coin, any one, when taken out, was watched by many people on the spot. Love is born in my heart. Such exquisite currencies they have never seen before. This is unprecedented. Many people are reluctant to hold it in their hands. It's just like a piece of art, it's perfect. It's hard to make people not like it. Bian Yu is looking forward to when the currency will be opened on a large scale. Let eternal coins circulate in town. This expectation, this recognition, must be regarded as a real currency. Already endorsed eternal coin. To be continued. Chapter 174, Cash Cow. For subscription and recommendation, for monthly ticket. Close black lens bracket. Nang Fu. Whether a currency can be circulated depends on people's recognition of currency. As long as the people approve, that beautiful stone can also become currency, just like the sword coin of the earliest period in ancient times. In the earliest time, the sword coin was polished with beautiful stones. It cannot be denied that it is made of stone, or other objects or even shells. In the eyes of many people, it is not valuable, but at that time, the coin could be exchanged for food, supplies, leather goods and so on. He did not have him, because the people at that time recognized the sword currency. Recognize that this is a currency, so even if the coin itself is a stone, it is still given the value of buying goods in circulation. Once it is not recognized, even if it is made, the coins will not be circulated. It seems that in ancient times, many courts issued banknotes and treasures, but the people did not recognize them and did not agree with the value of these treasures. When it was implemented, there was a lot of resistance and it was almost impossible to circulate. Therefore, in ancient times, it was difficult to implement treasures on a large scale. At that time, the most recognized people were copper coins, gold and silver. Xian Zai now, eternal coin has completed the most important step, that is, recognition. Now the people in Xuanwang town have recognized eternal coin, and have shown strong love and desire. Naturally, a unique belief converged on the eternal coin. Ding 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 ding. Yi Tianxing, who was practicing in a quiet room, suddenly heard a crisp sound. Your subconsciously turned his attention away. He only saw that in the space of Lingju, crystals were shining like jade, and snow-white eternal coins continued to emerge from the void one after another, and the first time they gathered towards the purple gold eternal coin Mother Money. The puppets are stacked one after another, and they are even higher and higher. When thousands of eternal coins come together, they are superimposed, and the appearance is like a small white tree. This small tree, as the eternal coin continues to increase, grows taller and taller, with trunks, branches, and forks. Although the small tree is not large, it is lifelike, it just looks like the small tree whose leaves have fallen in autumn. But this is a small tree that is completely gathered together with eternal coins. After the tadpoles condensed into small trees, the entire small tree emitted a layer of crystal white light. A trace of vitality and natural vitality gathered towards the small trees, letting a little golden light appear on these small trees. The vitality of the heavens and earth that had been exhausted in the eternal coin began to recover again and accumulated again. This speed seems to be much faster than when one is two. This is cash cow. Yi Yishanxing saw the small tree condensed entirely by eternal coin. This is simply a cash cow. Even if it was him, he did not expect that such a strange change would occur. The money tree's message was also obtained from the purple gold mother money. This money tree is a collection of all eternal coins that have been absorbed energy, fused with the mother money, and piled up into such a money tree. The condensed money tree can make these eternal coins recover faster and time is shorter. The most important thing is that you can see that the square hole in the middle of the eternal coin on the money tree seems to connect some mysterious place. There is a bunch of white rays converging. It seems that you can feel the rays of light. All kinds of strange thoughts, hope, joy, desire, greed, yes, all kinds of good and bad ideas, seem to converge in them. Is this the will? The moment Yi Tianxing saw, he instinctively felt a strange induction. He had the willing bead in his hand and had a very clear perception of the willing bead. Those gathered in the middle hole of the eternal coin seem to be a strange will. This is what seems to be wrong. This is willingness. However, this is not pure willingness. It should be mixed willingness. Good wishes and bad thoughts all come together. In this case, the combined willingness is a drama. Poisonous. Absorption and refining can increase cultivation, and will also leave the poison of will in the body. I have heard that incense is poisonous. This toxin is the idea of confusion contained in the will. Yi Yixing frowned slightly. Feel the willingness gathered in eternal coin. The joss stick incense is poisonous, not a joke. In the legend, the gods who absorbed the incense willingness and went crazy did not know how many. Why? It is because the willingness to absorb is not pure, it contains various thoughts, all kinds of thoughts from prayers. Once absorbed, it seems that various sounds are echoing in the mind, and even directly affect their own temperament. There is no unique way to absorb the will, and it is not pure will, that is a very dangerous thing. Now in Eternity Coin, the people from Xuanwang town have longed for money, and hope for a better life. Even the sin that money breeds, etc. All these things come together. But only pure will can be absorbed without any hidden dangers. Qi Yishanxing doesn't know what kind of consequences will be caused by absorbing the will, but from the difference between pure and pure, it can be seen that it is definitely not a good thing. Wish power can come together, but how can we absorb such mixed wish power? Can we only use it to mint eternal coins? Qi Yishanxing shook his head slightly, feeling a bit of difficulty, which is almost impossible for him now. He can't do it. What? At this moment, Yi Tianxing's heart made a suspicious sound. I was full of surprises because I just found out. The desires gathered in the middle hole of the eternal coin, even under a mysterious force, naturally began to separate, as if in that square hole, there were two different spaces. On top, it was isolated. Among those wishes, a trace of good wishes appears on the front, while those of bad wishes appear on the reverse. He is like the front and back of eternal coin. Swipe up and down for a while, naturally separated. There seems to be a mysterious rule in it. No rules, no standards. Eternity Coin still has this magical ability, half of which is purely willing, and half of which are various thoughts that have been eliminated. This seems to be the rule in Eternal Coin. Eternal Coin, inside the outer circle. Heaven and earth, heaven and earth. The sky is clear, the ground is cloudy, the sky is clear, and it is naturally separated. Up and down, just like heaven. Obviously, pure desire is clean air, and those thoughts, which are turbid air, are easily separated into two parts. It can be seen that in a square hole of an eternal coin, the front side is white and the reverse side is black. Keep flowing. Looks strange. A good money tree. This is still the eternal coin that has just appeared and has not been fully circulated. Once it has begun to circulate, the speed of this convergence will become faster. The more people use it, the more willingness to gather. The more people there are, the more people who recognize eternal currency, the faster the willingness to condense. In this way, I can continuously consolidate the willingness beads and obtain them. This is really a cash cow. Quote. Yi Yixing's eyes flashed with excitement. In my mind, the decision to mint eternal coins is still very fortunate. However, it is simply a manuscript. Even if the eternal coins that are minted are used up and they have absorbed the vitality of the world, they can be recycled again. Others think that they have been directly turned into black. I do and know, it was directly recovered into his hands, and it could absorb the vitality of the world and recover again. It only takes a while to become a passable eternal coin again. I can also gather the will of all beings. Once the will is condensed, you can use your will to mint new eternal coins again. This is tantamount to turning money into money and making profits, except for the first casting, which is followed by another bumper harvest. The perfect gain. This is a perfect cycle. And it will keep growing. This is a virtuous circle. The money tree Yi Tianxing did not intend to release it. This is its own powerful heritage. Putting it in the space of the spirit beads can ensure foolproofness. Once people know that there is such a treasure as a money tree, it will definitely arouse many people's greed if it is passed on. This is a real cash cow. Can gather massive wealth. He can only be foolproof if he keeps it personally. An example of a man's innocence and guilt is not uncommon in previous history. This kind of thing, once it is spread out, is definitely not a good thing, but it will shake people's hearts and make people's hearts float. It is not a good thing. Yu reading books can only be used as a hole card and a real trump card. As long as he doesn't say it, no one will think that he will have such a treasure as a money tree. It can continually consolidate the wishing beads, even a large number of eternal coins. What the future wars will fight for, money. Fighting is the bottom line. Such an information naturally holds in his own hands. Just like a lifeblood, it cannot be easily passed on to others. It seems that after the various infrastructures in Xuanwang town are all constructed, they need to begin to integrate resources, release them from the cauldron rice, and distribute the fields so that some people can start their own business. Only with interests can we produce more rich creativity. From public to private, this is an inevitable process of society and a major turning point in the development of civilization. Quote. Yi Tianxing took a deep breath and groaned secretly. I have a decision in mind. The village can also take the road of big pot rice. Now the wasteland is being reclaimed, and the planted rice grains can be fully mature in about a month and get a good harvest. Harvest a lot of food. Now a large granary has been set up in Xuanwang town, and a large number of grain harvests are piled in it. The large number can completely support tens of thousands of people in Xuanwang town for months or even longer. There is a buffer for these times. With food, you can be self-sufficient and never have to worry about being hungry again. There is absolutely no starvation. This is a big improvement. To be continued. Chapter 175, Refugee. What do people rely on to survive? Food. I have an old saying that is good, don't panic if you have food in your hand. That's the truth. I can't even eat enough food. Naturally, I don't have any other ideas. This is the same as the primitive society. In the primitive era, the people of the tribe were too full to eat, and they needed to go out hunting every day. In order to hunt for food that is sufficient to satisfy hunger, the primitive society is a social structure of social groups, and even the children born are gathered together to support them. Many people only know their mother and don't know who their father is. Therefore, primitive society has ignorance, but we cannot deny the survival wisdom of the ancients. It's an instinct. Only with sufficient food supply can social civilization be motivated to develop. Can evolve a colorful civilization. Did the large amount of grain planted now is Yi Tianxing's courage to end the cauldron rice. Those who are willing to farm can directly farm. Those who are unwilling to farm can choose to learn various skills, do business, and even do other things. Xishuanwang town is not an ordinary town but an immortal town. Everyone is a monk and everyone is a practitioner. The level of life has changed. To plant land, not many people are needed. Grain is used to eat. After filling up the stomach, the ultimate goal is to cultivate and promote your own cultivation. Enhance your own combat power. Therefore, in Xuanwang town in the future, it is impossible for everyone to cultivate, and everyone desperately occupies more land, with different levels, but also creating completely different civilizations, social structures, and development methods. It cannot be farm-based. It was an ordinary dynasty, not a monk's kingdom. Even in the future, even ordinary grains will gradually be reduced in cultivation. Planting valley. With sufficient food, Xuanwang town is eligible to take a crucial step. However, more precipitation is needed to increase the background and fill the granary. At least make sure everyone eats and drinks for a year or two before they can begin to make the final key change. Recently, we must strengthen cultivation as soon as possible. Time does not wait for others, we must seize every opportunity to become stronger. After watching the money tree, Yi Xingxing once again focused on his own cultivation. I have broken through to the 4th level of Shanghai, condensing the ****** spring. In this process, condensing the illusion of the ***** spring is the first step. Now to upgrade to the 5th level, we must condense the illusion ***** spring into reality. This process must consume a lot of true dragon spirit. Originally this was a subtle process. But now, this step can be done quickly by consuming real energy. With a break in her mind, she ran the Dragon Heavenly Sutra, and began to contemplate the pictures of the ancestor dragons around the world. A great ancestor dragon appeared again in Shanghai. Brush. At this moment, I only saw that Zulong did not swallow the vitality of the heavens and the earth and refined it into his own true energy, but opened his mouth toward the Shanghai, and a large amount of true energy was directly sucked into the body by the Zulong. And in the first time, he sprayed it towards the elusive ***** spring. He sucked in the breath of real dragons, but the chaos-colored light of the gods drew directly into the fountain of gods. In the light of gods, it seemed that I could see mysterious runes flashing. The integration of each divine light makes the illusory spring eye flash a ray of light, and it becomes more real from the illusory, conveying a kind of thick breath, which indicates the transformation of the spring eye. Gone Wei, that feeling is wonderful. This is the unreserved cultivation of spring eyes. The effect of this kind of nurturing is also obvious. As the true dragon's spirit turns into the light of God, and it is integrated into Quan's eyes are changing at a speed visible to the naked eye, and they are constantly changing towards reality, becoming clearer and more real. Even over time, a part of the area has become real, and it seems that this real part is constantly advancing. Expand the scope of. Correspondingly, the true dragon spirit in Shanghai is rapidly decreasing. It has been filled with the true spirit of Shanghai and has been quietly reduced by one layer. This consumption is huge. General monks, they don't do this at all. The amount of true energy almost represents the strength of his strength. This consumption is too hurtful. However, for Yi Tianxing, this kind of consumption is worthwhile. It is not a disadvantage to exchange time for qi, and such a huge qi in the body is completely unexpected. Even if it is consumption, it is also strengthening its own state of cultivation. Nourish the Shengquan with true energy, the metamorphosis of the spring can absorb the vitality of heaven and earth faster, and the rate of condensing the true energy itself will become faster. This process is a virtuous cycle, and this trait is definitely not lost. Time passed quietly. Dang dang dang. In the early morning, a sudden bell rang. A wake-up call on the city wall. Is there any major event? Yi Tianxing awakened from the practice. Shengquan only condensed 1/3 of it into reality. To complete the transformation completely, it took at least 2 days to do it. This process was not anxious. For a few days, he could wait. Much shorter than at least a few decades. I suddenly got up, without hesitation, opened the door and saw Kai Yi had come out. Brother Yi, the alarm bell is ringing, something must have happened. There was a flash of fascination in Kai's eyes and he said. Speak in the past. Yi Tianxing nodded. I didn't say much, and hurried towards the location of the city wall. After a short while, it was already on the wall. Sting on the wall, Huang Chengyan, Lu Shi, they have arrived. Master. Seeing Yi Tianxing's arrival, all nodded and saluted. But in the look, there was a look of surprise. Looking outside, Yi Tianxing's face couldn't help showing a hint of surprise, saying, it's a refugee, an exile, how can there be so many? Is there any other force in the vicinity, and some kind of trouble is not possible? Walking outside, I can clearly see that a large number of people in tattered clothes are constantly entering the valley from the entrance of the valley. These people have panic, joy, and complex emotions on their faces. There are men and women, but there are no old people. The old physique is too weak, and under normal circumstances, it is impossible to survive. The number of people entering the valley is very large, there are thousands of people, and there are still people coming out from the entrance and entering everyone's sight. This is not the village people in Xuanwang town. The dress and clothing are not different from the refugees. Obviously they come from other places. The world is so big. Forces, even villages. This is an undeniable fact. But now it seems that something is obviously wrong. Moreover, the people became refugees and fled into the valley. This is a godsend for me to grow Xuanwang town. It has just been promoted from Xuanwang village to Xuanwang town. There are a large number of refugees coming. This is to enrich my Xuanwang town's population. Such a good thing is simply timely rain. In Yi Yixing's heart, an ecstasy emerged. Immediately he ordered, "Big Tiger, you immediately bring a group of people and horses to meet these people to enter the town. Since these people are here, that is our distinguished guest and a part of our Xuanwang town." The latent meaning in the language is quite obvious. King Wang Dahu heard it, grinned, and agreed aloud. Turning around, he brought a group of soldiers to the valley entrance to respond. "Congratulations to my lord, it's a godsend to me, Xuanwang town. I was just promoted to a township, and so soon a large number of refugees came to join us. This is a gift from heaven." Huang Chengyan showed a great joy on his face, scratching his beard and smiling. "Heaven comes to heaven and earth to help. This is a godsend. God wants us to grow and grow in Xuanwang town." Lu Shi nodded politely. In their eyes, these refugees have been regarded as the people in Xuanwang town. It was not polite at all. In the troubled world, what is the most precious? Naturally, the population. I was divided into various areas and could not be connected. Every population was precious. Being able to get it was a matter of good luck. Population growth has given a huge boost to the development of the town. If you can find any talents in it, it will be even worse. If these people come over, if they let them go, their heads will be kicked by the donkey. So, Huang Lao and they treated them as their own in the first place. Bu Guo, however, where do these people come from? www.novelhall.com, how can this happen now? I still need to ask. Maybe there are more refugees. Qi Yishenxing's eyes flashed, and he said flatly, "Well, I think it's possible to build a lighthouse in the town, and at night, hang the lights, and guide the surrounding souls in the dark. If other humans are present, they will definitely come towards the lighthouse. If there are refugees, then it will definitely come towards the lighthouse." Quote. There was a flash of light in Huang Chengyan's eyes, and he quickly suggested, "This proposal is good, the lighthouse can be built immediately, and the night can be hoisted. Guiding the road." Yi Tianxing could not help but nodded secretly. This is one of the best ways now, there is no reason not to adopt. At this moment, those refugees outside saw the excitement and ecstasy in their eyes when they saw Xuanwang town standing in front of them, comparable to the city. Some even jumped to the ground and shouted, "Great, human towns, we humans, there are human gatherings here, we are saved, we survive. Great, we finally escaped from that hell, terrible, such a big python, staying there, we will not be able to live, we will all die. Too miserable, so many people died in the beast's minions, it's really miserable." Quote. We finally survived. I saw the light here at night, and followed it, and we actually found the place where humans gather. To be continued. Chapter 176, Lighthouse. Many people are in tears. This is simply seeing the light in despair. Originally escaped from Lushan City, I was still very happy in my heart, but I found out that the danger outside is not worse than that in Lushan City. There is no deterrent from a python. In the wilderness, all kinds of beasts, monsters, fierce birds came over and I don't know how many people died on the spot. This is still behind. At the beginning, it seemed that the people in Lushan City were still stained with the python's breath. Therefore, at the beginning, no beast monster dared to attack them easily. For a while, the breath on my body completely disappeared. Those beasts and monsters hidden in the dark immediately culled, like a feast. That picture is really terrible. At that moment, everyone was desperate. Yesterday in the night, I saw the light emitted by the Kimming lamp in the valley. I instinctively ran along the light. I did not expect that I actually encountered human towns. This transition from despair to hope made many people on the spot. He wept loudly. We really survived. Where is this, Dad? Why can't you stick with it? Just stick with it, and we can all survive. I hurt. This is a human town. It won't be a town occupied by ferocious beasts again. No, I saw the army, and there was an army. It is a human army, and we really found a place for humans to gather. A refugee slumped to the ground, crying. I thought of all the past encounters, and all of them came from my heart. There is also endless joy, crying from the heart with joy. Brothers and sisters, no matter where you come from, come to our Xuanwang town, that is a family, in the town has prepared delicious hot fish soup, porridge rice. Rest assured, no matter what you have experienced before, come here, that it's safe. Don't be afraid anymore. This is your new home. Quote. King Dahu rushed with the soldiers and saw a common people crying, and there was a movement in his heart. From what they can see, they must have experienced unimaginable ordeal before. Compared to them, he felt that he was lucky. I can meet the protagonist at the beginning, and I can build Xuanwang village, step by step till now. A lot of refugees heard the expression of anticipation on their faces, heard something to eat, and their hungry stomachs could not help emitting a roar. He followed the soldier and quickly walked towards Xuanwang town. As I approached Xuanwang town, many people's faces were shocked. Is this a town? It is more spectacular than the real city, with towering walls and huge arrow towers. It is indestructible, and outside the city, a large number of people are reclaiming wasteland and planting various vegetables and plants. Indica rice has been reseeded. Has grown seedlings. Very gratifying, all kinds of vegetables, fruits and greens are full of vitality. Some people are cutting trees around, carrying trees, walking as if flying, like a strong man. Someone grabbed a big rock, and carried it forward. It seemed to make them feel like they were not in a normal gathering place. Haha, there are newcomers coming, great. Our Xuanwang town is going to grow again. Come here, you have already cooked the hot porridge, boiled the fish soup, come and drink a few bowls, pad your belly, rest assured, here, there is enough food, don't be afraid of not eating. Come, this brother, sit here, I tell you, when you get to Xuanwang town, you will be like your own home. Everyone will be brothers and people of Xuanwang town. A large number of refugees entered the village. The neat streets, on the square, the crowd gathered, a big cauldron was erected, grabbed from the river, and the piranha looked bleak. Huge wild boar on the fire. A person can grab a wild boar and roll it on the fire. It doesn't seem to feel tired at all. Everyone has a good smile on his face. Jing Qi Shen is completely two extremes compared to itself, so that many refugees can't help but relax. Similarly, they have created all kinds of doubts and surprises. I am the mayor of Xuanwang town. On behalf of Xuanwang town, I welcome everyone here. There is no need to be restrained. It is a family, even if you eat and drink. If you fill your stomach, someone will take you to live. Familiar with the basics of the town. Quote. Yi Yixing walked down from the city wall and said to the refugees with a smile. Thank you for your acceptance. Nanmin the refugees saw and thanked them quickly. Sui ran, although it is abrupt, Yi still has to ask, what happened to you actually fell into such a situation? The look of confusion should be a terrible calamity. Yi Yixing asked. As soon as this sentence came out, many refugees instinctively showed fright. Snake, python, cannibal python. Yes, we are from Lushan City. There is a giant python in the city, which is used to captivate the entire city. All the people who enter the city are their food. Eat it directly, that python eats a dozen people every day. Quote. Those refugees, you say, I say, quickly tell your own history and experience. I heard that the generals and soldiers all around were angry expressions, filled with indignation, and the anger came directly to my mind. Yi Tianxing heard that he couldn't help secretly thinking in his mind, whispering to himself, it turned out that they were Chen Sheng and Wu Guang again, and they really couldn't break apart. Wherever they went, they could make a lot of things. This is a good thing. If it weren't for you, how could I get so many people in Xuanwang town? Such things give me more trouble. Chen Sheng Wu Guang he was not the first to hear. In the camp of the Huns before, I made an unusual riot uprising, which caused the Huns to jump wildly and suffered heavy losses. In the end, the Huns died in the valley indirectly, and they even sent thousands of people to themselves. I now have another riot in Lushan City. This sent a large number of people over again. Depending on the situation, there will be refugees coming later. It's hard to say how many. There were hundreds of thousands of people who escaped from Lushan City. Even if only part of it, for Xuanwang town, it is also fully developed. The skyrocketing population represents an increase in air transport. Increased background. These two, good guys. I can't help but feel weird. I have to say that Chen Sheng Wu Guang was indeed the originator of the uprising and riots. Wherever you go, there is no peace. It doesn't seem to be happy if you don't come to a riot or launch an uprising. These two are not fuel-saving lamps, the source of the turmoil. Qi Yi Tianxing secretly concluded Chen Sheng and Wu Guang in his heart. Alas, as long as they don't make trouble in Xuanwang town, he has no plans to care about it. It now appears that it has not harmed itself, but instead caused the town's population to skyrocket. This is a great man. After asking about the situation, Yi Tianxing handed these refugees to Jiayu village for treatment. Tian, fill up your stomach first, then prepare to register your family register, receive a Tianji card, introduce the situation in the town, and then arrange to enter the Tibetan scripture hall and select the skills and techniques. Of course, these must not be done in a day. As for the idea of going to Lushan City, Yi Tianxing directly wiped it out. Regardless of how far this journey is, how much it costs these refugees to run here, even if they have arrived, the situation of the python obtained from their mouths, I am afraid that with the current strength, it is difficult to deal with that giant boa threatens. It may even be fatal. Moreover, what refugees who fled to Xuanwang town saw in the town is almost a subversive change, such as a magic card, a magical Tibetan scripture hall, an incredible moon well, powerful arrow tower. Even in the whole town, everyone is a monk, who is freed from the level of mortals. This recognition completely subverts all worldviews. After one day, almost the whole person was getting fainted, and the people in the Temple of Heaven took them to complete their registration, and even settled in a good place to live. The mind was blank, as if they were dreaming. That feeling is too shocking. At night, Juda, a huge lighthouse has been built. Hanging on the lighthouse, a larger enlightenment lamp was hung directly. After placing the spar, the enlightenment light blooms in an instant, and the light in the night is like a bright little sun. In the night sky, it looks extremely eye-catching. www.novelhall.com has a strong attraction for all beings. In the wilderness, a group of refugees have lost their way. For the night, everyone has a strong fear from the heart. Look, there is light. It's in that direction. It's a very bright light, just like a little sun. It seems to be a lighthouse. If there is light, then there must be someone living there, a gathering place, or a city. Pasting in the direction of light, that would certainly not be wrong. Anyway, we are now lost, full of danger everywhere, looking at the location of the light, not far from us, rushing over, maybe there is hope for survival. The refugees boiled for a while, although they were tired and hungry, and no one knew the danger in the dark, and their desire for light was so strong. As soon as I saw the lighthouse, I couldn't help but change direction and walk towards the position of the lighthouse. In the process, there are fierce beasts and monsters, and maybe they will die on the road ahead. But they can't stop their longing for light. It's not just this group of refugees. Nearby, almost everyone who could see the lighthouse began to subconsciously approach the location of the lighthouse, not only the refugees from the city of Lushan, but also the humans who appeared earlier. For example, on a hill, a villa stands tall and stands on top of it. Various buildings seem to be complete. To be continued. Chapter 177, Zhengqi Villa. Shishan village occupies a large area, with various buildings and antiques. Even in the villa, you can see rockery and ponds. Rich in Zhongnan characteristics. There is a plaque hanging on the mountain villa. 4 ancient urns, Zhengqi Mountain Villa, are appearing on the plaque. Walking around the villa, a man in a strong suit looked coldly at various places, holding a sword in his hand. His eyes were shining, his breath was very deep and terrifying. He's so angry. Everyone is not easy to mess with, and you can see that there is a good cultivation strength in the body. All of them are top players. In the night sky, a series of sharp weird sounds rang out one after another, and immediately followed, we saw a huge vulture breaking from the sky and whistling to launch an impact on the villa. Puff puff. But at the moment when the vultures approached, I saw a strong-dressed man standing on the roof and in various areas, holding a battle crossbow in his hand and directly bombarding it. Each crossbow took a light of God and flickered. With the rune, quickly blasted at the vulture. Each crossbow is as fast as lightning. On the crossbow, a strange power of breaking magic is transmitted. Those huge vultures are not easy to mess with. It seems that they have already learned the power of these crossbows. When they saw it, they all roared angrily, with a layer of gray light on their bodies, followed by a condensed plume that shot like a sharp arrow and collided with a crossbow. In addition, the number of these feathers is much more than crossbow arrows. As soon as they appeared, they blasted to the whole mountain like lightning. Ding 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 ding. In Sheshanzhuang, a large number of decorators shot, and the swords flew, smashing the feathers one by one, and directly turned them into light spots in the void, and vanished. Jianzhu, some of the buildings were bombarded by Yuyan and directly penetrated. I can see that the power of those vultures is above the villa, and there are too many dense vultures. Each end contains a powerful combat force, swept away, the feathers that condensed out, like arrow rain, overwhelming. Brush. Obviously, the attack on these vultures at Sheshanzhuang has been unusually familiar. After seeing a large-scale attack, a yellow treasure umbrella suddenly appeared in the villa. This umbrella opened naturally. In an instant, I saw a layer of yellow asterisk light blooming out of the umbrella, and naturally the villas are shrouded in it. Like the same huge mask. A feather plume blasted on the mask, and ripples rippled on the yellow mask, but there was no way to break this layer of defense, and the yellow treasure umbrella spun naturally in the void. In the courtyard of the villa. Inside the desolate pavilion, a young man wearing a white gown, with a thin body and a pale face on his face, was like a white-faced scholar. Looking at the sky leisurely, in front of him, holding a treasure box. Dakai, the mouth of this treasure box slowly opened, and you can see that in this treasure box, there were 9 mouthfuls of cold swords. It's just that these swords look very compact, the size of which is reduced to the size of chopsticks, but they are lifelike. It can be seen that each mouth contains a different charm. I watched the vultures constantly attacking the villa in the void. Holding a teacup in one hand, he shook his head and sighed, "Hey, this world is so empty, a group of hairy birds dare to hit the boys' righteousness villa again and again. It was previously restored to the realm, I haven't compared with your livelihoods, and although I haven't fully recovered yet, I can still do 1 or 2 to make up for the emptiness of my son." Quote. Falcon sword, killing sword, exterminating Buddha sword, Fu magic sword, demon sword, sacred sword, soul-chasing sword, bewitching sword, broken sword. Well, use the broken sword among the 9 swords. The white-faced boy was sullen, his hand stretched his fingers, and a small pocket sword inscribed with the ancient army's ancient sword was smashed. The small pocket sword flew out at the same time, and in the process of flying out, it instantly became large and became the size of a normal war sword. The 2 ancient magpies on the top of the army shone with a flash of light, and a fierce evil spirit came from the sword. He shot out. The broken army sword flew up into the sky, shuttled out of that layer of light curtain, and appeared directly in the vulture group. The battle sword was like an invisible hand in control, constantly waving, widening and closing, each sword was chopped out. They brought out a cold light, and chopped the vulture accurately. The vultures are not vegetarian, the light flashes on their bodies, the feathers become very tough, and they are like sharp blades. Definitely not inferior to the sword, but can directly collide with the mouth-broken sword, but after the confrontation, the pupa appears to be gapped, and even the pupa is cut off directly. The broken sword opened and closed, very domineering, and extremely fast. In a moment, a vulture was cut off by the broken sword, pierced through the body, and fell in the blood toward the villa. With a sharp cry, the vulture hovered over the villa, followed by a faint bird dropping from the sky like hail, crackling. Instantly scattered to the entire villa. The sky is dominated by bird droppings. I followed, and a large number of vultures disappeared quickly. Although the jade umbrella can block various attacks, even bird droppings, it can't stop the stench transmitted from the air. She passed into the nose of the white-faced boy, and could not help frowning, and said with disgust, "It is really a bunch of rude beasts. If you can't break into the mountain village, it's really empty to cast bird droppings." With a disgusting wave, he shook the bird droppings on the light curtain directly. With a look of distaste, the treasure umbrella was taken back. "Throw to the side." A maid quickly picked up. "Lychee, clean this umbrella well, you haven't brushed it 9 times. Don't bring it to me, wash it with petals." "Yes, son," the maid immediately agreed. I watched the maid take the umbrella away, and the white-faced boy also took up the towel and wiped it back and forth on his hands. His dislike of the face seemed to have a certain cleanliness. "Son, you see lights in the southwest. It seems to be a sign of human habitation." At this time, a guard came quickly to report. Oh, there is light, so let me take a closer look." When the white-faced son heard it, he seemed a little surprised, and his white face showed a hint of interest. He slowly stood up, his toes were slightly on the ground, followed, and the whole body flew up in the air, falling lightly on the roof. "Look up into the distance." At the end of the line of sight, I saw a bright light blooming in the darkness. It seems that in the night sky, it is very eye-catching, at least in the position of the villa, you can clearly see. Knowing that it is a light, you can know, at least not far from the villa. It's the light, it should be the place where humans gather. Okay, remember the direction of this light. Finally, you can leave the villa and see the other humans, and this boy thinks that all humans are dead. If so, this world, space is empty. Quote. White-faced boy shook his head and sighed. Then nodded in satisfaction. I cannot release such a light, it is definitely not an ordinary place, maybe a large city somewhere, this villa is still too deserted. You have to get in touch with the outside world, otherwise, how to promote the reputation of Jungchi Mountain Villa and spread his own reputation? The world cannot lack human beings, so the space is empty. It's not good, it's bad. Not only Jungjung Villa, there are also many villages nearby. Various forces established a lighthouse in Xuanwang Town, and after making such a bright light, they noticed Xuanwang Town's direction. Many people's faces changed after seeing them, and various thoughts appeared in their hearts. But obviously, the excitement in my heart is indispensable. In this eternal continent, it is too difficult to communicate. It seems that the entire world, except for its own region, can no longer see other humans. This feeling is too lonely. Seeing the lighthouse now is like seeing a loved one. The night is long, but it seems extremely lively in Xuanwang Town. There are lights for enlightenment, everywhere are brightly lit, just like daylight, without being affected by darkness at all. Instead, many people use the night to talk and laugh, and there are men and women who talk to each other. Exchange feelings. There are even chefs who directly display exquisite cooking skills and cook delicious dishes, which are shared by many people, and some have special skills to perform around. Aroused applause. In the valley, with the emergence of the lighthouse, a number of refugees came in continuously from outside the valley, one by one, with various unspeakable feelings, stepping into Xuanwang Town. Drink hot steaming soup, hot rice. He didn't know how many people were scattered around here. There are still many people inside Luan who did not come out of Lushan City at all. I don't know how to survive. www.novelhall.com. I haven't even died yet, I can still follow the lighthouse to find Xuanwang Town. As soon as the lighthouse appeared, the humans who arrived in Xuanwang Town all night did not stop. It seems that a lighthouse has been established long ago. If there was a lighthouse before, I don't know how many people can be recruited and how many people will be added. In this world, people will die in the wilderness every day. After seeing Huang Chengyan, he could not help but sigh secretly. Of course, I just talked about it. Before, there was no illumination lamp. He just pitied those innocent people who died in the wilderness. Okay, there is a beacon. I believe that new humans will be found here every day. Concentrated in Xuanwang Town, the population can maintain a growing state. At least for a short time, this growing state can be maintained. Quote. Master Lu also choked his beard and said slowly. By Tian, from day to now, the newly increased population in the town has reached thousands, and it is almost approaching tens of thousands. This is pretty amazing. This night, the town is full of excitement and enthusiasm. Of course, this is just when the lighthouse was just established, and the attraction to the surrounding area is huge. Over time, after the nearby human beings have been attracted, the number of humans who can guide them will plummet. However, even so, it is an unimaginable leap for Xuanwang Town. To be continued. Chapter 178, Shanghai Realm 5th. Looking at the sudden increase in the population in Xuanwang Town, Huang Chengyan's joy was incalculable. His Confucian and Taoist methods required the Qi family to govern the country in peace, to govern the people's livelihood, enrich their knowledge, manage the people, regulate the civilian affairs, and let the people live and work in peace. The better Xuanwangjian manages, the faster he cultivates. The body's mood will grow faster. This is the power of popular will. Naturally, the larger the population, the better it is for him. Also, he hopes to benefit more people. It really helps Yi Tianxing to create a real paradise for one party. Not only that, if the lighthouse appears, if there are still villages around, then you will definitely see the lighthouse. With the lighthouse as the target, you can give directions to those villages and come to Xuanwang Town. Even if you do not join the town, you can also get in touch with the town, open access roads, and even open up business roads to get in touch with each other. At that time, our Xuanwang Town will become the center and hub of the nearby area. Quote. There was a flash of light in Master Lu's eyes, and he said slowly. I couldn't get in touch before. One was that there was no direction in the wilderness and it was easy to get lost. Once lost, it was a disaster. The second is that it is difficult to communicate, and it is not known at all where other humans exist. Naturally, there is no communication. Now, with the appearance of the lighthouse, the eyes of all nearby forces have been placed on Xuanwang Town. As long as conditions are met, they will definitely send people to come, and even open the way. Once so, the forces from all directions gather in Xuanwang Town. It is difficult for Xuanwang Town not to become the center of the surrounding forces. The lighthouse is an irreplaceable advantage. It won't be long before the opportunity to implement Eternal Coin comes. Huang Chengyan said thoughtfully. This is a great opportunity. Once Xuanwang Town becomes the center of the surrounding villages, all transactions and exchanges need to use currency. At that time, it is the best time to implement eternal currency. Currency, circulation is their mission. Time passed quietly. More and more people are gathered in Xuanwang Town. The total population has reached more than 30,000 directly, and it has begun to advance towards 40,000. A large number of newcomers make the town lively every day, and newcomers after registering and getting practice exercises, they started to practice, began to integrate into Xuanwang Town, and regarded themselves as a part of the town. I really felt the power of Xuanwang Town, felt the tranquility and stability of the town, and the people who had been scared for a long time. They regarded this place as a paradise and a place of life, and cherished this precious opportunity. Moreover, there is still a chance to become a monk, who really has the power to protect himself and become more powerful. He will no longer fear the beast monsters and can fight with the beasts himself. Can live 100 years. All these have thoroughly stimulated everyone's interest. Many young men directly choose to enter military camps, join the army, and become a soldier. Cultivate battlefield killing skills, have more powerful strength to fight with beasts and monsters, protect Xuanwang Town, protect the people in the town, and protect themselves. The number of people participating in the army is very large, so that the number of soldiers in the barracks has skyrocketed to tens of thousands at once, and it continues to increase. Unconsciously, it was night again. Yi Yishanxing still could not move into the quiet room to practice. Jin Tian, today, Shengquan can be condensed from illusion into reality, truly transformed, and promoted to the 5th level of Shanhai. While sitting down, I secretly made up my mind. In the past few days, every night, I will make every effort to warm up and temper the mouth of Shengquan in Shanhai. Even the sea of Shanhai was completely consumed. The energy consumed is absolutely massive, and it is a huge project to nurture this ***** spring. Fortunately, every time I consume a true energy, I can feel the transformation of Shengquan. Now, most of Shengquan has completed metamorphosis. Only a small part is still in an illusory state. Once this small part is completely made up, the transformation can be completed perfectly. I didn't hesitate and started to think about it. A breath of true dragon quickly turned into a beam of divine light, and plunged into the fountain. Out of the body, a burst of vitality, also submerged into the body at an alarming rate. Time passed quietly, unconsciously, with the evaporation of a true dragon, Shengguang entered the mouth of Shengquan. A mysterious feeling suddenly appeared. He only saw that in the Sea of God, a skull-sized spring eye suddenly burst into light. In the light, countless mysterious runes were flickering, constantly changing, interlacing, and in an instant, they disappeared directly into the spring. And that elusive spring, so naturally transformed into the real spring eye. There is no illusion of breath. A strange sensation passed through my heart. Shengquan is condensed and true, and Shanhai is the 5th most important place. The speed of breathing the heaven and earth is faster than before, at least 10 times faster. And, every time and every moment, we are breathing the heaven and earth, which is better than the heaven and earth that we absorbed during our full training. The quantity is not much worse. This speed is really too fast. The vitality of the heavens and the earth is directly poured into the body. Only refining can be condensed into the true dragon's energy. The speed of cultivation has skyrocketed again. Quote, Yi Yishanxing felt the changes in the body. First, the swirling speed of the vortex in Quan's eyes became faster, and the speed of engulfing the heaven and earth's vitality was even more amazing, increasing tenfold. Moreover, the light that emanates from it faintly makes the real dragon spirit in Shanhai become more condensed a little. The connection between itself and heaven and earth seems to become closer and closer. There is even a feeling of being able to fly in the air in one step, as light as a bird. Once you practice, it will be easier than before. Moreover, even the major tactics in the body have become more active. The heaven and earth vitality drawn from the Shengquan naturally emerged from the Sea of God, plunged into the major life consciousnesses, nurtured them, and accumulated the power of life consciousness itself. In the fight, you can quickly restore the power of life and tactics. This is a wonderful transformation. Fighting power, fighting time, and the time it can support itself will become longer. Endurance is stronger. I even vaguely have a strange perception of heaven and earth. I have a more down-to-earth feeling in myself. Shuan Shengquan is no longer illusory, it becomes completely real, and integrates with Shanhai. This feeling is calmness, strong foundation, not as vanity as before. The difficulty of promotion is the length of time. As long as the Shengquan can be condensed, the entire first stage of the Shengquan is a natural process. It is only one of the steps. You need to step on it and go to the land. You will find that this is the logical process. Quote. Yi Yixing nodded secretly. Shanhai, gather gas, Shengquan, Shanhai. In fact, it is the process of accumulating qi and strengthening its foundation. Each step is to make this process of condensing qi quicker and more pure. Let yourself be able to fill the sea of Shen step by step. Build a solid foundation. As if it is now the fifth most important part of Shanhai, the basic purpose of Shengquan is to enhance its own qi cultivation. But Yi Tianxing now let the whole body of Shanhai be fully enriched from the beginning. Completed the goals of the entire Shanhai area ahead of schedule. Practice the other way round, naturally, as fast as you want. The realm of Shanhai is not equal to combat power. I look at his own combat skills, the strength of life and magic. For now, Yi Tianxing fights against the ninth strongest man in Shanhai realm, and he definitely does not counsel. There is not much difference in itself, and no one has overwhelming power. Of course, the growth of Shouwei realm has the growth of strength. Just now, Yi Tianxing felt that the physical strength in his body seemed to have increased by thousands of pounds. This is also the reason why many monks can accomplish it in an instant, and it is an instant surge. For example, Huang Chengyan practiced at one time, soaring directly. This is the special situation of Shanhai. It feels good to be promoted. I will be promoted to the 6th place of Shanhai in a few days to complete the first level practice of Shengquan. Yi Yixing slowly spit out a stale gas, and a faint smile appeared in her eyes. Fortunately, this word has not been known to others, otherwise, I am afraid that many people will collapse in their hearts. Shu Shu was promoted to a higher level, and increased his realm. In his mouth, it was as simple as eating and drinking. If it falls to the ears of those who haven't been promoted for several years and decades, why is it worth it? What? At this moment, Yi Tianxing made a sound of surprise. There was a stun in his eyes. He immediately reached out and a white jade token appeared in his hand. On the token, www.novelhall.com, the blood-stained ancient badger flashes with streamer. The world's first martial arts conference token has actually changed. Is it the world's first martial arts conference to start? Fang Yishanxing frowned slightly at the token in his hand, which was exactly the past token heading to the first Budo convention in the world, and just found out that the token suddenly lighted up, emitting a strange light. This is obviously different from before. This will take it out the first time. After careful examination, I found that the tokens continued to emit strange light, and it still flickered, as if a lamp was turning on and off continuously. It seems weird. Brush. Sui J and with another flashing, from the token, Bang shot a ***** light directly into Yi Tianxing's mind. She show this message is not difficult to absorb. It is directly transmitted to my mind and is immediately absorbed by the comprehension. But Yi Tianxing's face became dignified. At the same time, there was a flash of unexcitable excitement and eagerness in his eyes. It's really going to start. How long will it take for the First World Budo Convention to begin from the integration of all realms and become the eternal continent at this time? The First World Budo Convention will be held. Is this too hasty? But it's really exciting. Quote. Yi Yixing murmured to himself. To be continued. Chapter 179, Changes in Tibetan Pavilion. Yes, the world's first martial arts conference is really about to be held. Moreover, according to the message passed on the token, it has been less than 3 days since it was opened, and it may be opened at any time during these 3 days. Once opened, the pass token will open a channel and pass the token holder directly to the place where it is held. Of course, you can choose not to go. But the pass token will disappear. The current token is the pass token for the first Budo assembly. who after the first session, naturally, the token is completely invalidated, even if it is held in hand, it is useless. So this can be said to be a one-time pass token. Represents only one opportunity. Once you give up, there is no chance to continue. According to the token, the world's first martial arts conference is not held elsewhere, but in a secret place. Without tokens, it is impossible to enter. This is definitely an unimaginably grand party. The congregation will be a large number of arrogant figures in the entire eternal continent. I am at least a strong one. Those who can get the pass tokens are all lucky and talented, and even powerful people, especially in the beginning of the birth of this eternal continent. It must be the first batch of Tianzhao class character. Regardless of victory or defeat, simply relying on gathering directly from all parts of the eternal continent and communicating with each other is an invaluable treasure, which will have unparalleled benefits for the future. This kind of communication is impossible for ordinary monks in their lifetime. The broadening of the horizons has huge benefits for one's own state of mind. I want to go, I must go. I must go. Almost instantly, Yi Tianxing had already made a decision in his heart. He will never give up at this first World Martial Arts Convention. This is an opportunity to truly recognize the group of people who today stand at the pinnacle of the eternal continent. Sometimes the importance of circles is unimaginable. In today's closed era, it is very rare to be able to communicate with each other, and even with monks who are far away from Amari. If you miss it, it's a real idiot. You must go, but before you go, you have to settle things in Xuanwang town. Now the town is developing at a high speed, but there can be no big troubles. And, I do and know, how long does it last? If there is not much time, once it is too long, you must pay attention. If it is possible, Yi Tianxing does not want to leave Xuanwang town at this time. Nowadays, the town is undergoing major changes every day, and every day, it is growing and growing. In many cases, you need to pay attention to it yourself. Fortunately, there are still Huang Chengyan, Lu Shi, and others who control the direction in Xuanwang town. There will be no major problems. Absolutely, you can do it after a while. Unfortunately, I don't have any magical powers of separation. Otherwise, this problem can be solved perfectly. Now I can only arrange things in town as much as possible. Yi Yixing shook his head again. He now hopes to have an avatar. Can transform into avatars and sit in Xuanwang town. The ontology can go to the martial arts convention, but it now appears to be impossible. The avatar supernatural power is not ordinary supernatural power. Ordinary monks, connection and contact are impossible. The life-saving tips that can be separated are the top ones. Not yet accessible to Yi Tianxing. There is only a maximum of 3 days. I wanted to support Shengquan more. Now it seems that I must be promoted to the 6th level as soon as possible to complete the 1st level practice of Shengquan. I cannot continue to stay. Yi Yixing's mind flashed a thought again. I originally planned to stay in the 5th realm for a while, but now it seems that the key is to upgrade to the realm as soon as possible. He had a hunch that this martial arts conference might have a great chance. The higher the state of cultivation, the better. Today, let's familiarize yourself with the 5th realm change. Tomorrow, find a way to promote the 6th. I made a secret decision in my heart. The next day, when Yi got up early in the morning, he carefully inspected Xuanwang town, followed, and came to Kai Yan's room. As soon as I entered, I smelled a scent of books. I only saw that one ancient book was neatly stacked next to it. On it, the fragrance of ink is emitted, and each book is bound carefully and carefully. On the cover, the name of the book is written. Han Fizi, Spring and Autumn, Book of Songs, The Analects of Confucius, Book of Rites, Mencius. Zhao Ji, you have already copied this in a few days many ancient books. Quote. Yi Tianxing came in, and originally planned to take Kai Yi to have a good time in the town, by the way outside the town, to have a better life in the world of two people, to cultivate feelings. After all, in a few days, we must enter the martial arts assembly, heading to the mystery, not sure how long it will take to return. As soon as Xuan came in, she saw that Kai Yan had already copied a lot of ancient books. It is also some important books of the Discipline Inspection Commission in the history of China. Eyes could not help attracting the past. Brother Yi, you are here. Kai Yan heard it, looked up at Yi Tianxing, and smiled softly, saying, cultivation can be done for a certain amount of time every day. When you think about it, you need to spend your own spiritual will. It cannot last for too long, but as long as you do and practice, there will be no problems, so I want to copy these books as soon as possible. Let other people see them as soon as possible and read them. Quote. She is a book-loving person. Facing the white paper and the books memorized in her mind, the books spontaneously emerged, and her instinct began to copy. Unconsciously, more than a dozen ancient books have been copied. Transcriptions of ancient books do not need to be too anxious, take your time, but since there are so many transcripts, it is better to choose another day. We will put these ancient books in the Tibetan scripture hall today. Some adjustments. Quote. Yi Yixing said with a smile. This time I will leave for a while, and the scripture pavilion also needs to be organized. It is good. After Kai Biao blinked, Zonko agreed, and she was also very interested in putting these books in the Tibetan pavilion. The Book of Scriptures is a different treasure. In the future, it is destined to collect thousands of works, and the books copied by yourself can be placed in the Book of Scriptures. It is definitely an honor. These books will grow together with Xuanwang Town. Save. He did not hesitate. With these ancient books, the two went hand in hand to the Tibetan pavilion. The glamorous Tibetan scripture hall is still flashing with all kinds of strange streamers, full of shock, and the 9-story pagoda is flashing with mysterious rhyme. Seems to be eternal. There is a sense of wisdom. There are a large number of people in and out of the Tibetan scripture pavilion. Many newly joined people, after completing the registration and receiving the destiny card, can use the destiny card to enter the Tibetan scripture hall, select skills and combat skills, and with the destiny card, the Tibetan scripture hall is no longer everyone for those who can easily enter, only those who have a Tianji card can select exercises in the Tibetan Buddhist pavilion. In addition, once selected, it will be recorded in the Star Network through the Tianji card, leaving a record. I cannot be deceived in any way. Xingxing.com has been connected to the Tibetan pavilion. Many people walked into the scripture pavilion with anticipation, with pilgrim-like expressions on their faces. A lot of people, they are choosing skills and techniques. Do they need to wait for the evening? After seeing the scene in the Tibetan scripture hall, Kai Tuan said, after a little groaning. Bu Yang, no, these are not the problems, and the things I want to do will not affect them. They just make some small adjustments. Yi Yixing said with a smile and shaking his head. In the Tibetan scripture pavilion, his words, Jingkoyuyan, can easily control the rules here. The decree, the first layer of exercises and classics, all transferred to the second layer, the upper layer of the classics, to extend the trend. The sound of the words fell, and the light flashed in the Tibetan scripture hall. Suddenly, on the bookshelves in the first floor, all the classic combat skills disappeared. Become completely empty. This made the people who were originally going to choose the exercises for a while surprised. The decree, the first floor Tibetan scripture pavilion, the collection of world classics, various books of knowledge. Non-Gongshu classics books and classics. Humanities miscellaneous. Everyone can watch. No merit points, watch for free. The utterances of the words fell, and the rules in the first floor of the Tibetan scripture hall immediately changed. Brush. Subsequently, Yi Tianxing came up with a dozen books. A white light emerged out of thin air, shrouding those books. Then, the light flashed, countless words flickered, and immediately afterwards, those books began to change into books like white jade, like those of the Gongfa and combat skills, without knowing what material. The emergence of a series of books, falling in the bookshelf, www.novelhall.com, extremely beautiful. Don't worry about damage at all. In a flash, the books were neatly arranged on the white jade bookshelf. He became part of the Tibetan scripture pavilion. Every ancient book here has only one original. Once you have the first book, there will be no second book. Unless it is a revised version, it has something different. As long as there are reasons, the original can be infinitely condensed into countless copies for everyone to look at. There will be no problems at all. From today, the first floor of the Tibetan scripture pavilion is the area where ordinary books are stored, and the second floor is the storage area for the exercises and techniques of Shanhai level. To learn the techniques, you can go to the second layer. Qi Yishanxing smiled and said to the people who were still shocked by the screen. It's amazing. I've heard people say that this Tibetan scripture hall is a treasure. I never thought it was so amazing. It is incredible. This is the power of monks, the magic of different treasures. I must become a monk. Only by becoming a monk can I protect myself. Everyone heard a touch of help. I went up to the second floor and went to choose the exercises. Qi Yishan walked to a bookshelf and pressed down to an analects in front of him. Under the flash of light, a white jade book is directly condensed on the hand, lifelike, no difference from the real. Open it, it is a regular script font, which is like a machine typesetting, neat and pleasing to the eye. To be continued. Chapter 180, To Catch Black Data. Every word is a unified founder. It looks very comfortable. It is easy to read without any difficulties in illegible writing. Above, every sentence, every punctuation mark is clearly visible. Punctuation. This is Yi Tianxing's hand to Kai Yan. It's easier to transcribe books. Later, it will be easier to read. What a magical Tibetan scripture hall, the ancient books I copied. Not only did the material of the books change, but the handwriting on them also became so square that I could not see my original handwriting. However, it was clearer and easier to read. Perfect. Kai Yun looked and found that the content was exactly the same as the one she copied, but the handwriting was all changed to a block letter anyway. Like standard Chinese textbooks, the handwriting was clear and comfortable to read. However, these books do not have the power of inheritance. They can only rely on themselves to read and understand a little bit. In addition, there is no other way. Because these books are ordinary books in themselves, they do not contain special inheritance. There is no way to carry on. Alas, this is also the real joy of reading books. Well, I believe that in the future, this place will become one of the Tibetan scripture pavilions with the most ancient books in the entire eternal continent. Hopefully one day, this place will become a sea of books and mountains. It has a large amount of books. Yi Yishanxing smiled indifferently. Sui ran. Even though it is empty now, sooner or later, countless books will be scattered throughout the Tibetan pavilion, becoming one of the largest libraries in the world. Moreover, it is not just Kai Yi who can memorize a large number of books. Some scholars also have 4 books and 5 classics in their minds. Some people even carry some books with them. These are gathered together, and the first floor Tibetan scripture pavilion should be able to fill up quickly without appearing too monotonous. I remember that Uncle Huang seemed to have some books in his hands. If he said to Uncle Huang, he should agree to put it in the Tibetan scripture hall, and let the Tibetan scripture house complete the collection. Kai Yi said a little with a deep groan. Well, not only the classics of Confucianism, but the classics of other 100 schools can be put into the collection of Tibetan scriptures and collected. There are various craftsmanship skills, medical books of medical ethics, etc. Any kind of books can be included scripture pavilion. My goal is more, wider, more comprehensive. Quote. Qi Yishanxing said thoughtfully. Yes, the craftsmen in Xuanwang town can be brought together, so that they can record their skills and put them in the Tibetan pavilion. Of course, the skills put in belong to the ordinary level. If the skills in the monk level are not included in the first level. If this kind of thing is to be promoted, it must be carefully considered and discussed with Huang Lao. Books placed in the scripture pavilion can be rewarded with merit. Yi Yixing murmured to himself. Sometimes knowledge is more important than human life. Inside the palace hall, in the lobby, Qi Tianxing sits at the top of the head, and the main backbone of Xuanwang town is gathered below. Shang Huang Chengyan, Lu Shi, Hu Bin, Wang Fengxian, Chu Weiming, Jia Yukan, Lai He, Shui Jin, Zhang Yu, Yang Yi and his son, Wang Dahu, and Cao Zhengchun stood behind. Master, you want to grow the Tibetan Buddhist scriptures. The old age is full support. These days, there are blank papers made by Lian. I have also copied the ancient books in memory with idiots. However, the number is not large. I plan to keep reading in my spare time and learn new things. Now that the main character is useful, I naturally put it in the Tibetan Scriptures Hall. Only by collecting them in the Tibetan Scriptures Hall can the people in Xuanwang town benefit and open up the wisdom of the people. Quote. After arriving at the lobby, they all knew about the Zhangjing Pavilion. Huang Chengyan is happy to see this happen. This is a good thing and there is no reason to stop it. This is the inheritance of knowledge, and any reader should support it. Furthermore, in Xuanwang town, among the newcomers, there are many scholars who come from various worlds and dynasties. The books they have read are also different, and the knowledge they have learned is extremely rich. They copied the ancient poems they learned and stored them in the Tibetan Scripture Pavilion, believing that they can greatly enrich the variety of books in the Tibetan Scripture Pavilion. Quote. Huang Chengyan proposed again. Those scholars are really talented, even if they are hard to read, they still have a large number of sage books in their minds. They may not be too flexible in their minds, but forcing endorsements can still be done. Copying books is more common for scholars. It is not difficult. Well, I decided that the first floor Tibetan scripture hall accepts donations from anyone. Ordinary books, sages, hundreds of miscellaneous studies, medical books, etc. can be put into the Tibetan scripture hall. For each donation, you can get a little merit points. You can accumulate merit points in the scripture pavilion for trade skills. But the same books can only be donated once, and only one copy is included in the scripture pavilion. Quote, Yi Yixing said with a smile. It is naturally not good to collect books for free. This is also to give a reward to encourage this behavior. After all, many times, some skills are unique skills. If people want to record their skills into books, gather them into books, and put them in the Tibetan pavilion, it means that everyone can watch them, and if they are learned by others there will inevitably be unfairness in their hearts. Of course, this is just the part that does not involve practice. But knowledge is the fruit of wisdom and needs to be encouraged. Master, I have a lot of craftsmen in Tiangong, and under the influence of Master Lu, I have begun to study how to extend my skills to practice. Compared with ordinary skills, many people are willing to put them out. Entering the Tibetan Classics Pavilion is also an inheritance of its own. Quote, Hu Bin stepped forward and said, Since Lu Shi created the big killers such as runes, crossbows, and flying spears, many craftsmen have begun to change the direction of research in this direction, but it is undoubtedly the most important thing to make ordinary items unusual. You also need to have runes and understand runes. Give those items extraordinary powers. There is the basic rune in the Tibetan scripture pavilion, but that is not free, it requires merits. Now many people are working hard to accumulate merit points, and want to exchange for the basic runes as soon as possible, but the merit points are too rare. Only military personnel have fixed points of merit. Others need to complete the task. In Tiangong, you need to create new items, such as Lu Shi's rune, and you can get a lot of meritorious points. Nowadays, as long as you copy your own skills into a book and put it in the Tibetan scripture hall, you can get merit points. I believe many craftsmen will be willing to do so. I do and even have Wang Fengxian's opinion. They are more and more aware of the changes that spiritual practice has made to them, and their own medical skills need innovation and transformation. Towards the alchemist, healing and preaching can benefit the people. This is the first thing, and the other thing is, I had a sudden whim, and I felt that I was going to break through. So, preparing to retreat for a period of time. This retreat is a retreat. Unless it is the most important point to the outside world, otherwise, you won't know. So in the past few days, you have to get rid of all things in charge of Xuanwang town and build. Quote, Qi Yishanxing said the second thing. If possible, he does not want to leave at this time. The protagonist intends to close the door. Huang Chengyan heard it, took a meaningful look at Yi Tianxing, and then said, Now Xuanwang village has been promoted to Xuanwang town, and it is alive and well, and the lighthouse has been established, which can continuously attract people from all around. If it is closed, I'm afraid it can't last too long. We can deal with small things, but we still need to take control of the main person. Quote, In the words, there seems to be something pointed. Yes, I guess, the establishment of the lighthouse may attract nearby forces to come to investigate and communicate. Lu Shi also said. Rest assured, but it's just Shanghai. Now it doesn't take long to retreat, at most not more than half a month. It may end in a few days. Yi Tianxing said with a smile. He also knows that now is the time for rapid development in the town. The faster you return, the better. I just missed the first martial arts assembly in the world. This is a great opportunity. Subsequently, Yang Yi and others also said that they would definitely guard Xuanwang town during this period of time and would never let any enemy invade Xuanwang town. Then at this time, www.novelhall.com, a remote corner in the lobby. A green-haired vicious dog is lurking cautiously. Both green eyes narrowed. The green hair, which was only on the 4 paws, has begun to spread towards the 4 legs, even covering the lower legs. Live part. It looked like a moldy self-walking dog. When it was motionless, there was no breath at all, and it was not even found by the people in the lobby. The Green Emperor narrowed his eyes, raised his ears and listened, dismissed his lips in a disdainful manner, and sneered in his heart, Stop dead, deceive ghosts. I really don't know if the Emperor knows spiritual practice. What death gate does Shanghai need to close? To retreat, not to cultivate, it must be studying something weird, but the biggest thing is probably to do some conspiracy. My Green Emperor must reveal your true colors. This time, you must seize the handle of Yi. At that time, he dare not give me spar. Quote, I want to eat 10 meals a day and 10 spar each time. Green Emperor, come on, you can definitely grab his black data. The Emperor Lu sneered in his heart, staring at Yi Tianxing. I don't know why, it just has a feeling. Yi Tianxing is definitely not going to retreat. It must be secretly doing something else. Just grab the handle, and at that time, the spar is not as much as you want to eat. Don't even think about it now, you have to watch the spar every day, you can only eat one piece a day, and watch the bright spar slip away from you go. This kind of thing is absolutely unbearable. To be continued.